I'm Goldie Metcalf.
I'm Charlie Naughton, author of You May Have Seen Me Sleeping with My Brother.
And this is Midnight in Baghdad, episode 42. And it's an amazing episode because we are back live in the studio, folks. We are here. My old hat has fallen off there, as you can know from our old picture. It's absolutely great to have you in the studio. It is, Charlie. It is absolutely fantastic. We've been apart for so long during COVID. Before that brief stint, just before it all kicked off. But it's great to have you back here. I think it's going to be a new, invigorated show.
And we were just getting back into the flow after the 18-month absence, if you remember, with the incarceration.
Yes,
so this is the second enforced absence, and we'll be back stronger.
Yeah, and you're back, which is great. The hat keeps falling off me, folks, and the reason that keeps happening is because I have all this gear on me. Do you know what I mean? So we've all this gear on. The hat keeps falling off. But it's there now. We do have a jam-packed show for you tonight, and one of the things I wanted to get into is the government. Okay, I'm actually going to just leave it there for a moment. I was actually really proud of our government and how they dealt with COVID-19 and everything associated with it and the decisions they made in relation to it. Okay, and I was actually proud of them this week, and I said finally we're making sense. And what I saw in the news was this decision to cut welfare payments after recipients abroad criticised and unfair and discriminatory. So they're saying that basically the decision to cut welfare payments to people who go on holidays was criticised as unfair and discriminatory. Now, this is kind of the more of the, at the start of the show, we always kind of hit the hard topics with kind of Black Lives Matter and all the effects of that, and this is probably another weird offshoot of it, but it's kind of more, it's closer to home. Is it discriminatory to do that, to cut the welfare payments to people that go on holidays?
Absolutely not, if you're asking me my opinion, because the whole point of the COVID payment is that you're supposed to be seeking work, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So you can't be seeking work if you're abroad on holidays. I do feel sorry for some of the people. They should have been given more warning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Essentially, they're missing out on 4 weeks of the COVID payment. But I think I agree with you. I think it's a brilliant thing. And I think as well, it's a sly way maybe of the government making sure that the unemployed don't go. Like in September, holidays are going to be very, very cheap. And the temptation will be for people that are unemployed to go on holidays. Now they're going to think twice, and a lot of them won't go, whereas they would have been booking holidays. So I think it's a brilliant move by the government. Absolutely brilliant. Do you agree with it? Yeah.
I absolutely. Like, I'm just going to take these glasses off. It's all very well and good to get holidays in a normal situation, okay? But we have a situation here where nobody should be traveling abroad. We should be staying at home. It's not really safe, even though these green areas that we're supposed to be able to go to now, they're not really that safe.
No.
It's too unpredictable. So then the government would like to keep you all at home. Now, you just can't stop people doing that. But if you're reliant on the state to provide for you, well, then surely you should have to follow the government advice. It shouldn't be a choice for you. What would you think about that?
Yeah, I'd agree. It shouldn't be a choice at all. I mean, either you're okay. You say you're actively looking for work. That's not the truth, and that's no criticism of them. But at the same time, you shouldn't be off spending the hard-earned COVID payment that everyone is paying into on a holiday abroad. And it just makes no sense. Like you say, there are no safe zones. This so-called green list. I mean, if you're determined, you can go up north anyway and get to another country. So I think it's a great move by the government, and I hope that they don't rescind it or change their mind. I hope they remain.
Well, you might be in for a bit of a shock. Welcome, Drico and Romo Clan, into the studio. Thanks very much for joining us. They actually have rescinded it, Charlie. They actually have. Okay, so this is a €350 payment that we, the taxpayer, are paying. Okay, and they made the decision to cancel it, which is fantastic. It's brave. It's an amazing decision to make. But then, of course, it's been rescinded. Okay.
So as in people who have gone abroad will get their COVID payment?
Essentially, yeah. So there has been a U-turn in relation to this because under public pressure.
Public pressure from who, though?
From the people who rely on this payment, I guess, which is a large volume of society.
A lot of people rely on the payment, but how many of them have gone abroad? I mean, it must be a tiny minority.
Well, this is the thing. People are taking advantage.
Okay, so there, I can see it there. 2,500 people. So they all complained. But what about the rest of us? This again makes me feel I got to become a more active citizen. I did nothing about it apart from think that's brilliant. I should have been, I suppose, what should I be doing? Ringing into Joe Duffy saying this is great and so on, defending it. But we've had the government again turning around. Like, let's not talk politics, but the government, again, the Minister for Agriculture last week, 2 weeks ago, losing his job, and rightly losing his job because of his history. But we've governments just turning around. They say one thing and then already then can we trust this new government on what they're saying to us? It's a pity.
But it is. But isn't it just another example of us giving in to kind of peer pressure when it is the pressure from the minority, and that's the whole point. That's why it's so
pressure
unique.
From the unemployed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Now, I have no problem with people going on holiday. Even if because everyone's entitled to a certain standard of living. Absolutely. So if you are traditionally on social welfare payments, okay, it's hard for people, the taxpayer like ourselves, Charlie and myself, and some of our listeners, to take. But realistically, we have to give humans a certain standard of well-being, and But during a pandemic, I think there's definitely merit for saying enough is enough. Do you know what I mean? You have to, we are supporting you, so now it's your turn to support us. Help your country by staying at home. That's what it's saying, essentially. And is it a lot to ask for, really?
Like, if there's pay cuts next for civil servants or whatever in the next budget, I mean, can civil servants then kick up a fuss and get that rescinded? I mean, it's not in the interest of the whole country. That's
what's going to happen, isn't it? And Draco asked a question here. What about people who had a holiday already booked? So, okay,
Yeah, my heart does go out to them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people had holidays booked and they made a choice not to go for the safety of themselves, the safety of grandparents. You've lost money. Yeah, a lot of people have lost money.
Yeah, so there's a party saying, if they've already booked their holiday, well then, it's maybe they should be allowed. But realistically, we have all booked holidays, even the taxpayers. So we're equal in that respect. We're losing stuff. We're losing money, or it's been used as a voucher. I think you're not exactly losing money, but it's going to be used in the future. We're suffering the same as you. So yeah, just get over it. It's sorry you had your holiday booked, but you're going to have to wait. It's your time to pay up.
Yeah.
Romo Clan says, what about the cost of depression, mental health issues for these people that don't go on holiday? And again, that's definitely
well, I haven't gone on a holiday in about 18 years, and I can tell you I'm not depressed.
Okay.
I feel absolutely fine and happy in myself.
Okay.
If people are going to get depressed because they can't go abroad to Malaga for a week, I think that says more about the state of mind of the person than.
But you see, some people wouldn't be as mentally as strong as yourself or myself, Charlie. Do you know what I mean? That we could actually swallow that pill. And I think what our own clan is saying is it is, people wait all year for this 1 week or 10 days or whatever it is to get away. And when that's suddenly taken away from them, they've nothing to hope for. So, there probably will be people that will fall into depression. What about them? It's hard to say, I think. I think to be honest with you, Ron McClan, if it was my decision, I think it would be a case of we just have to see what happens. And we may possibly lose people to depression because of it. But we don't know the calculation. We don't know if that one person dying of depression is equal to 100 people dying of COVID if you have to go away. We don't know those calculations yet. So I think we'd have to, for this pandemic particularly, just let's see what happens and use that data then going forward if this was to ever arise again.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's crazy. I'm very pissed off now, 10 minutes into the show, to find out that payment has been given back, will be given back to people when they come back from holidays.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
But still,
but to be honest, there is a little bit of politics, I suppose, in that too, because what they actually said is if you're traveling to the green list, you'll get it.
Right.
But if you travel outside the green list and it's not for essential travel, well, then you will be docked. So they haven't fully gone back, but you know,
How many countries are on the green list at the moment?
I'm not sure, 15 or 16, I think.
And they're quite unusual, like Iceland and
countries
Greenland.
you'd never really want to go to. And I'm not disrespecting Lithuania or Latvia or Finland or any of these places. Malta, I think, is one you can go to.
That'd be a popular one, I presume.
You know, they're lovely.
Malta would be
places,
crazy expensive.
Traditionally, as an Irish person, you're not going to want to go there in your summer holiday. You know, and I don't mean to disrespect.
Can I say something? If someone's on a COVID payment, how are they affording a holiday to Malta or to Ireland or, to Iceland or whatever? You know, it's these cheap package holidays to Torremolinos and all those places. They're definite no-goes.
Yes.
So,
but you'd have to think now that the likes of Finland and all these places that are on the green list have probably become. Would they become a little bit cheaper or more expensive? Because I guess the question there is,
I think expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. So is the demand that high for them that the price will go up, or do they still have to allure us or still attract us? Do you know what I mean?
But have you heard about Iceland's scream policy or shout policy?
Yeah, through the waterfall.
Yeah.
You
know, they're obviously coming up with these kind of innovative ways of drawing people and getting the country in the news and so on.
That is good, actually, point. Because there's literally this place in one of the Scandinavian countries where you literally send your scream, you record your scream, and you send it to them in Iceland, and they'll play it in behind some particular waterfall. And, you know, that's a way of you expressing yourself and getting all the frustration and anger out. And it's complete horseshit, but we're
here talking about it.
It's a novelty, isn't it? It's definitely an interesting thing. So I can see what you're saying. So you're saying that they're actually going to attract us not by giving low prices, but by actually showing unusual what their country can do. And it'll definitely be interesting to see how that one plays out. So yeah, that's it. I'm very interested to see how many people actually take it up.
Yeah, that's very depressing that you're opening with that, though, Goldie.
Well, you know, we said
really annoying.
We said we'd always hit on the kind of
political note.
A political note. It's not a political note, but something that's happening in the world that's kind of somewhat serious. You know, we cover it because you know, for weeks we were trying to steer away from it and hide from it, and I think that's not helpful.
I'd love to know if other countries are echoing Ireland in that. Did, for example, England have a similar policy, or was Ireland first to try to cancel the COVID payment to anyone who went abroad? Usually in this country, not criticizing this country, usually we're following something that's worked somewhere else. That's why, like you said earlier, you're so proud of our response to COVID. I am too. But of course, we had the benefit of having seen it spread from east to west. Smart doctors, smart health executives were looking at what had worked in previous countries. We're looking at what wasn't working in Italy. So when it came to us, we were actually prepared, and we've done a really good job. I think we're like third or fourth in terms of European countries.
I think people are definitely going to look at our country, you know, for the future to see, you know, what positives can we take here. What, you know, we'll certainly be looked at. They may not take everything, but I think we will form part of the next official European response because it'll have to become standardized across Europe.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
And this will come again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is only the tip of the iceberg.
I think the COVID app has been the most downloaded.
I haven't downloaded it.
Okay, but it has been the most. They've exceeded their expectations.
Over 1 million people, apparently.
Yeah, in terms of percentage of adults in the country, no other country that has so far released their version of the app has come close. So there's that kind of public have always been on board, you know, like you say, supporting the government. We had a government that wasn't even an actual government. It was a caretaker government. And I mean, I've never seen anyone be more leaderly, and I've never felt so much support.
But wasn't it an amazing thing as well in some respects, because, you know, the country was very much on a state of, we want to change. We want Sinn Féin in power. Okay. We were very much on the border of that. And Sinn Féin kind of messed up the last election. If they had to just run a couple of more candidates, they would have been in automatically. They ran extremely less. But it was kind of scary because they think that they probably would get in, or if they didn't get in, they're definitely getting in next time because they won't make that mistake again. And we were doomed, I think. You know,
if Sinn Féin had been in power,
I'm not
a new party, a party that's never had power before, having to deal with this kind of crisis.
And not just this, but like the normal one in the show as well, not just during COVID, but you know, I question, would a Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael been able to form a government if COVID didn't hit? They probably would have, but the backlash could probably have been a lot more worse. But I think COVID, the way that it was dealt with by the government, was an ideal opportunity to what happened. You know, you'd almost be able to create a conspiracy to say that Ireland created the coronavirus because this is what was happening. Because it has actually benefited a lot of places in the world, countries and governments and stuff like that in some respects. So it's.
Although I wonder, did our Taoiseach and did the Minister for Health and so on perform so well? Because for the first time ever, they're not looking at re-election. They're already essentially out. So they probably looked at themselves and said, right, let's actually do what's best for the country. Let's not worry about PR. Let's not worry about getting voted in the next election.
Yeah.
Hard decisions were made.
For the people.
For the people, For the future.
And I've always said that. And that's the thing, you know, I'm sure Leo and all these, Bertie and all the people before him started off wanting to actually make a difference. Started off thinking that if I got into that position, I would do it for the people and not for re-election and whatever. But of course, that journey to that position corrupts to some degree, or for some reason the decision changes. But I'd like to think, and I'm sure everyone else before me did, but if I was to do that, I would like to be the one that actually could say, I will 100% do what's right for the people and not for re-election. If, you know, even though I was a candidate for re-election, do you know what I mean?
So you'd probably be a one-term politician in those circumstances.
But maybe by doing that you would become more, but it would be for the right reasons, not because you just wanted to be Taoiseach again or president again or whatever it was.
Suppose.
So I think it's definitely interesting times, and I think to answer your question, Ron McLean, realistically, there's going to be a lot of studies done in the next 20 years and probably longer into relation to what happened this year, and I'm sure we'll still get some of those answers. We'll move on to something a little bit more lighthearted, and by lighthearted I mean death. And that's where we're
one way of escaping the COVID lockdown. Yeah,
that's it. So this is a story, right? Morgue worker arrested after giving birth to dead man's baby. Okay, now this headline was in 2017, and it obviously caught my eye. But it caught my eye because it was sent to me this week over social media. And I didn't realize until I actually looked into it a bit further that it was so long ago. And as you can see, there's a couple of signs and stickers here coming up, which is
where is Bangalore?
It's in India,
right?
But this is a fake news. It's fake news basically. Right. But the difference with this is that it actually caught on. A lot of, and you see this happening more and more. People believe it, and other news agencies kind of run with it. So this just became massive. On the internet, basically, about this girl who had sex. She worked in the morgue. She had sex with a dead body and became pregnant. And I thought that's an amazing story. But obviously, after looking into it, I believe it was fake. But I still kind of, I wasn't satisfied. I wanted to look a bit further into it. So, first of all, necrophilia. Okay. What's it about? Like, talk to me about your impression of necrophilia.
Well, my understanding of necrophilia is probably the same as yours. It's someone who's alive having sex with a corpse. Yes. I mean, it's like what Ted Bundy did with the bodies.
Well, I don't know if Ted actually specifically did that.
He denied it. He admitted all these murders, and he even
didn't directly murder anyone. I don't think.
Ted Bundy.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm thinking of Charles Manson. Sorry.
Yeah. Did Charles Manson? No, so he wasn't even at the Sharon Tate's house and so on himself. Yeah.
Sorry, I was mixing them up.
No, Ted Bundy, you know, the serial killer.
Yeah.
But he never once admitted. Buns. Yeah. And the tradition kept on. It's interesting how like Bundy burger buns are still going, but the word Hitler, for example, anyone with the surname of Hitler, I presume.
Yeah.
You know, they immediately changed their surname and that. You know, but Bundy never admitted to having sex with the corpses, but they found semen in the decapitated heads. He'd go back and he'd dig up the dead bodies and have sex with them.
But for some reason, I don't want this to come across in a bad way or anything like that. But you know, I just want to say it's a general thing, right? I don't get necrophilia. I don't understand it.
Like, okay, what if
the purpose for it? But what I will say is that if you're ever going to do it, it would probably have to be with somebody you've just murdered. Like, do you know what I mean?
While the body is still warm.
Yeah. And
can you pull up the picture of that woman? This is the woman who supposedly had sex with a corpse.
Yeah.
Now looking at her, I can see why it's believable because.
Yeah, but we don't even. This didn't even happen. Okay. So this is just.
But would you have had sex with her as a living man?
I think she could clean up. You probably would. Yeah.
It looks like she's too bruised eyes.
She does, yeah. But if she put a bit of makeup on or something,
covering up the bruises,
you could see how it could happen.
Actually, is that her in the right after she went to college?
No.
Gain a profession.
No, that's definitely not
Okay.
her. But what was I saying? I kind
it would have to be a recently.
You'd have to have murdered somebody, because I can see I can see the appeal of being a murderer and then doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Well, not that, I don't want to. I don't say I can see, but it kind of.
Where
makes
are we
sense
in the time here?
It makes sense. We're only 20 minutes in, but relax.
No, I want to get that one and edit it.
All right.
Can you explain yourself there a little bit, Goldie? Because it's quite controversial to say.
It is controversial, but if you think about it, it makes sense to our logic or our psyche, because we probably have grown accustomed to seeing that in movies and somewhat in real life sometimes, I suppose. Because
someone having sex with someone dead.
Yeah, who they've murdered, because we've grown up watching it on screen in all these thrillers and shows you've watched. Do you know what I mean? So I think it makes sense that serial killers are generally probably sexually orientated or whatever, because that's what we've seen. So I can see that happening, but what I can't see happening is working in a morgue or digging up a grave or whatever to want to do that. I don't understand that.
Well, can I ask two questions here? First of all, if you had that kind of predilection, like if you're saying you can see the attractiveness of it, well, aren't you going to go for that a job then to work in the morgue or be an undertaker or,
yeah,
because you're gonna think there's opportunity, or like the way we'd say, like the way a lot of priests, were pedophiles.
Like child, well, not a
were
some
child abusers.
Some priests were
a substantial minority compared to people in other professions.
Yeah.
So they might have been drawn to that profession. Is that what? Would that not make a bit of sense?
It absolutely would. I suppose, yeah. If they couldn't actually bring themselves to murder somebody, they would go for a job
where they'll be in contact with corpses.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense. It does. Absolutely, it does.
And secondly, can I ask a question? And I genuinely mean this. I don't know the answer to it. You know the way there's obviously genre in porn, like Japanese porn, anime porn. Is there a necrophilia genre in porn?
I actually have never checked. That is strange. I have never checked.
Well, that's a good thing, Goldie. That says a lot about your character. Okay, there isn't.
No, I don't know where you're not looking, but
there must be obviously in the dark web.
On the dark web, yeah, because obviously it's illegal. But I've never looked up for simulated necrophilia or anything like that. It's actually weird that I never thought of that, because we've talked about pornography on this, and we've talked about how you kind of progress through different categories.
Yeah. And have you noticed lately? Do you remember a year ago? We were talking about this recently, a week ago as well. But a year ago we discussed sex robots.
Yes.
And have you come across recently in porn where women are acting as if they're robots? Like a man will lift their hand and their hand stays like that. I've seen it a good few times now.
Oh my God.
NaughtyAmerica.com.
You look so tired. You look so tired.
Very tired, yeah. It's hard. Don't fuck me. I'm not dead. So are you saying, Goldie, you wouldn't be totally averse to fucking a very recently deceased?
Oh no, I definitely wouldn't. Absolutely.
We've lost our listener.
No, I definitely wouldn't do that. But if I was going to, I'd want to. That's probably the best chance you have of me doing it.
Okay, so someone who
you're
already you murdered him. Okay, right. It's not. I was going to say someone you were already going to have sex with, and then they just happen to die.
In my mind, it doesn't make sense any other way.
Right.
I think that's just true what we've been subjected to in the media, because we always associate the serial killers with the sex crimes and Seven and all these other movies you watch.
Yeah.
So I think it's just in our minds we've been conditioned for that to make sense.
Have you done some research on this, or?
Well, I did, because I not only did it, obviously the headline draw my attention, but I kind of went to look and see, was there any other high profile cases of necrophilia?
And is necrophilia having sex, or is it maybe masturbating over a corpse?
It's generally a sexual act.
So physically intercourse.
It could be physical intercourse, or it could be jerking them off, masturbating,
okay, right.
Whatever it is. It could be anything.
Right.
So this is actually a true one now. Okay.
Okay.
So a morgue worker, who had sex with a corpse of murdered Russian Big Brother star, was arrested. So Oksana Aplakayeva I don't know why I said that in an Australian accent, but it was just I did. Was murdered in 2008 in a notorious case which remained unsolved in Russia. But this when this morgue worker got it, he had sex, and there she is there.
So she was murdered.
She's alive in that picture, as far as we're aware.
Yeah, she could be being propped up there
potentially, but I don't think so.
She's very attractive and has a lovely figure,
and she's obviously famous. Right?
Yeah,
she was 31. She was famous for taking part in Russia's Big Brother show named Dawn 2.
Okay,
and she was found strangled on a roadside in Moscow. Her body was exhumed. After more info about her killing came to light.
Oh Jesus, that's the only way he got caught.
Yes.
Okay, so he's probably been doing this a lot.
But potentially, like this could be somebody who's doing it the whole time, or just wanted to actually have sex with this woman by coincidence.
Well, that would be the worst. That would be the worst coincidence ever. The poor guy. Like, you'd have to have a bit of sympathy for him there.
You would, or he could be the actual. Well, if going by your logic, a kind of a Dexter, a Dexter
creating
type
his
character.
own.
This is him here. Alexander A is his name. This is him.
That's a brilliantly cropped shot. He could be wanking over the corpse there right now. Look at his face.
Anything.
Yeah,
he could be doing anything there.
So what's he charged with? Desecration.
It could be a Dexter type thing. He could be the one that's actually murdering.
Right.
And then he's getting that. He could be doing a double job on it. So he basically got caught.
How did they link it to him? So he left DNA in the corpse, and they must have checked. They must have had to do a DNA test on anyone who had contact with the body.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Did it say what he's? So is he? He's been charged with what, or he was put in jail for how long? 12 years.
Yeah,
and he did. And if I killed you right now,
no, sorry, he was working there for 12 years.
Okay.
He hasn't been able to get a job since, he says.
Well, he's in prison. That's going to be hard.
He also claims his wife left him and changed her phone number.
Why does he say she changed her phone number? That's almost like it's a plea online to give me your number. Well, of course his wife left him. And the only case I've ever heard that is kind of similar to this is a morgue worker who, the way he got caught was his wife got ill, and she went to the doctor, and the doctor carried out some tests on her, and she had a bacteria in her vagina, which can only come from dead bodies.
I think we discussed this before, didn't we?
Might have. I don't know. It's kind of horrific. So her husband had sex with a corpse.
Yeah.
And whatever the bacteria he'd got in his penis, then that same night he'd gone home and had sex with his wife, and somehow she'd contracted this bacteria or whatever. And
it got discovered that way. Yeah, I do remember a story like that. The police do say that they've no evidence that suggests he was involved in her actual murder. And there was no evidence to suggest that they did it with anyone else. But it doesn't.
Did they say why they think she was murdered? Was she raped? Like, she was exhumed, so they must have realized there's some evidence on her body to get. They weren't anticipating getting a morgue guy's DNA, but they must have thought, right, why were they digging up her body?
Because some evidence had come to light about her death, so they wanted to exhume her. Right. So you have to assume that they're onto her. But definitely an interesting thing, and I don't understand the need for it. You sometimes, I suppose, you're having sex with somebody, you feel like they might be dead. Do you know what I mean? Like that they're just lying there. What's the appeal? I don't know. So I kind of looked into it a little bit further, just to try and understand why they would do it. And a lot of it has got to do with non-resistance, funnily enough, that the person isn't resisting you, that there's no shame in the sense of that if you don't perform well, they're going to tell you that you're not performing. So there's this whole need to have somebody not pose you a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Someone with very low self-confidence, then.
It must be.
I suppose we all have low self-confidence when it comes to sex. Like the stuff you're saying there, that strikes a chord with me. Like that, I wouldn't want someone criticizing anything about me. And it's when you're at your most vulnerable, isn't it? You're usually naked. Mm-hmm. And if you can't perform, there's a lot of pressure on you to do it. You might like to look at your body, you might like to look at your cock, etc., etc. So not that I'm defending people that do it, but what you're saying is there's a logic, isn't there?
So now I can understand it a little bit more. Because before it was all about the person had to be a murderer for that to make sense. But now when you kind of look at it in that respect, you kind of think to yourself,
they mightn't even actually be attracted to corpses. It might be just the scenario, the fact that this person won't criticize me in any way. They mightn't get out. They might even be repulsed by the corpse in some ways.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Do you think? Last week we talked about pedophiles and how it will never be socially acceptable. Do you remember the guy from America was talking to us about alcoholics and so on, and we support and we praise people recovering alcoholics. We would never, I suppose, be in the position to praise recovering pedophiles and so on. Do you think there'll ever be a stage where people can, I'm presuming it's a tiny minority of the population, but to come out as a necrophiliac, would that be the word or whatever?
Necrophiliac, yeah.
And to seek help. It's not the worst crime. I mean,
well, it's a strange one, isn't it? It's like, put it this way: would you, God forbid, your mother was to pass away, would you like somebody having her way, the way with her?
So that's a horrible thought, yeah. But let me put it this way: would I prefer my partner to be an alcoholic, be a pedophile, C, a necrophiliac? It's an easy choice, isn't it?
I don't know if it's
isn't it?
That's a crazy question. I'd probably go with the alcoholic, to be honest.
The damage that alcoholism does to families, to everything like that. What damage, really, Goldie? What damage does necrophilia do?
It causes a lot of psychological pain
to the person, presumably.
To the family, if they find out, I suppose. So
is that not a reflection of us and our society? No, but you have to, they're out, let's say, about it, that they're open about it.
Yeah,
you have to live with it.
I think the psychological damage is horrendous to the family to think that happened.
But maybe that says something about ourselves, that we're,
I think alcoholism is something that's actually more accepted in society or more progressed. So what you're saying is, that's an easy answer for me now, actually. Because if you say to me right now, today, in 2020, would I want somebody in my family who was one of those three things? If I was to pick necrophiliac, there wouldn't be the supports there for them now. Do you know what I mean? But there would be for alcoholism, because people actually accept it, and when you're recovered from it, it's like respected, and do you know what I mean? It's not a big issue as it used to be, and there's a lot more help there for it. So I'd pick the alcoholic for that reason. We'll move on to one of your stories. Now, I haven't looked at this yet. We just pulled it up before the start of the show. So you're telling me about a Florida man?
Yes. This story came up and immediately jumped out at me because of the unusual nature of it. I'd love to know actually how many bank robberies take place a day or whatever, but I'd imagine at least one bank robbery takes place a day. Would that be correct, Goldie, would you say?
One bank robbery?
Yeah, around the world. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
I'd accept
so
that,
it's quite common, but this one grabbed my attention, and here's why. This guy was caught, so we know his name. His name is Sandy Hawkins, and he robbed the bank. He's 73. He robbed the bank in Florida back, I think it was in February. So this is old news, but it just really struck a chord to me. He robbed the bank it's a Wells Fargo bank. I love Wells Fargo. I know they're just a bank, but every time you see the words Wells Fargo, does something strike a chord at you from your childhood at all or anything?
Well, I'm just thinking of the movie at the moment, to be honest with you. Fargo.
Oh, okay, right.
That's all I'm thinking of. Well, right. I don't get.
Just for me, like I would have watched a lot of westerns, I suppose, as a kid with my dad, and it just seemed. I'm thinking of all those. It was always a Wells Fargo logo on it. Like they must have been with the first bank or whatever in the West. I don't know, but you always would see that sign, Wells Fargo.
It's not something I've ever picked up on, I must say.
Are you into westerns at all?
And it's actually funny you asked that, because earlier on when we were doing, I was coming up, obviously at the end of the show, we talking about our movies. And one of them is kind of your worst genre, and I was like, which genre do I like the worst, or like the least? And westerns definitely came into my mind. But then again, I thought, Jesus, actually some really good westerns. So I didn't go with westerns in the end, but it was definitely in contention.
Yeah. All right, westerns. I love westerns.
Yeah,
I love them.
So tell me about it. What's the story?
So he robbed the Wells Fargo bank in Florida. And like every bank robbery, you'd imagine you're going to do two things. I'd imagine. What would you say are the basic criteria for robbing a bank before you do it? What are you going to make sure you do in there?
Well, if I'm going to rob a bank, and you're talking like very simple plan, you're not thinking elaborate.
Yeah, the two main things. What are the two essentials that everyone has to do, regardless of your plan?
Have some kind of weapon.
Okay, very good.
And something to hide your identity.
Yes, actually. And third thing,
a getaway.
Okay,
and something to put the money in, obviously.
Yeah, you'd want money,
This is very simplistic. Now I can come up with an elaborate plan that would probably
no, but they're the essentials.
but-
You want to walk out with money. You don't want your identity revealed. You want to be able to get away. You're totally right. So this guy was very specific. He wanted $1,100. So
$1,100.
$1,100.
Okay, so he's not being greedy.
No, and unlike you, he didn't have a mate to give him the loan of the grand. So, but what happened in the bank? So he went in and he didn't hand in a note. He asked for 1,100.
Okay. He had no weapon.
He did have a weapon, but the other thing you said, hiding your identity, he made no effort to hide his identity. Now, you guys can see him up there on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was thinking he'd get away with people might think he was Brian Cox. I don't know.
Or Santa.
Or Santa.
You know?
But he made no attempt to hide his identity, which I think is important to the story. But he demanded $1,100 from the bank teller. So I can imagine, a youngish girl, totally sexist here, but a youngish girl, maybe in her 20s.
Okay.
And she's shitting herself. She opens the little cash register and she takes out the money and she gives him the money, and it's $2,000.
Okay, so we just have a bit of breaking news there. TV star's young son rushed to hospital. He suffered a painful injury. We just got this as breaking news, folks. It's Emmerdale's star Karen Blick's son breaks leg in accident and she thanks the NHS. This is from today, Wednesday the 29th at 8:25. Literally, while we were speaking, this happened.
I can't help but think that if her son had been
idiot.
listening to the show, he wouldn't have broken his leg. I mean, he wouldn't have been on a scooter.
Well, that's it.
Was he on a scooter? One of those electric
It's something
scooters?
that we might come back to. We don't. It's not part of our agenda tonight, but we just want to break that news to you, folks. Go check it out there.
Yeah.
Karen Blick's son.
Our thoughts go out to Karen Blick's son. I mean, it
Yeah,
is tragic because,
luckily, it was only his leg that he broke.
well, for now, but when he goes into hospital, what will he come out with? I mean, corona. Will he come out with corona?
Yeah,
Will he
we
come out with...
definitely wish him the best.
I wouldn't wish him to come out with it. No, I
not
just want
to
him
come
to be
out with
cured.
it, but we wish him the best of luck with it.
Definitely.
Sorry, come back to
Sandy Hawkins.
Santa Claus almost.
Yes, Sandy Hawkins, who did not break his leg. So he went in. The teller gave him $2,000. He counted it out, still in the bank, at the top of the line, and he gave it back and said it was too much.
Okay.
He gave it back to her and said he wanted 1,100. So she counted out 1,100 and left.
Wow. Brittany, welcome to the studio. Thank you very much for joining us.
Why would you not just have taken the $2,000 and gotten out? And then if you just wanted 1,100, just throw away the 900 when you're in the getaway car. I mean, that must have taken an extra 30 seconds, 1 minute.
Yeah, but it's not like, once you take it out of there, you've stolen it. I think this is obviously somebody, I don't know the full story, but this is somebody who's obviously extremely desperate for money, and he knows what he's doing is wrong, and he knows he's going to be in a lot of trouble if he's caught, but he's so desperate. But he doesn't want to take more than he needs. He wants to show, I guess, because that I just needed this money.
He's not a bad guy.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm taking what I need because I have nowhere to go. And I assume that's the type of story you're going to tell me.
No, but I know. I wish it was. I also thought that. I thought something else as well, probably more cynical than you. I thought in Florida, maybe there's escalating. Do you know the way the government considered introducing like a kind of curve in speed fines?
Yes.
That, depending on how fast you're going. So I wondered in Florida, maybe if you steal a certain amount of money, is there a threshold where let's say if it's under 1,200, you only serve a year if it's more than.
So you're looking more kind of
cynically, but there's nothing like that. So not your reason, not my reason. Why he wanted 1,100, he has never said.
Wow, that's amazing.
But he didn't even hide himself. So there was a guy in the bank who recognized him, a manager of a bar where the guy drinks, recognized him. So he made no effort to hide himself. He wanted a kind of crazy number, like again, 1,100 instead of $1,000.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So he was caught, and then it turned out the bank teller revealed that he actually had given her a note that said, "Give me 1,100."
So we're going to get some kind of closure on this. I love it. I love how you built it up for me.
Yeah, it's sad though.
Okay.
So he said, "Give me $1,100 now, no alarms." And then at the end of the note, he'd written, "Hope to get caught."
Wow.
Now, when you pulled this up earlier, I think you noticed some of the other stories that came up, and I didn't want you to pull them up because he's been tried for this crime. When the police, so the manager of a bar who was in the bank at the time recognized the guy, and so it was very easy to catch him. But when the police arrived at his home and when they looked into his story, it turned out his wife had died a few years ago.
Okay.
And he had gone through psychiatric problems. His doctor said that he just had some kind of breakdown, and he couldn't come to terms with his wife dying. Now, how that links with robbing a bank for the exact sum of 1,100 still has not come out.
Okay.
But it looks like, based on what
He just
you're
wanted
saying,
attention.
and he got it. We're talking about it on Midnight in Baghdad, I suppose. But it's a sad story, isn't it? You know, you don't blame the guy, and yet you feel a lot of sympathy for the guy. Yet there's so many unanswered questions. And based on what you're saying here, it looks like he's not going to go to jail. This is the case. This could be the story of a man who robbed a bank and got away with it, essentially, if he can get back the money. I mean, that must be the only time someone has robbed a bank and gotten avoided jail term.
I don't know that answer. It kind of reminds me of
Heat.
Up. Not Heat. Up, and that's the judge.
The guy looks a little bit like the character in Up.
The ruling. You what? Sorry.
If you look at the picture of the guy, he's not dissimilar to the old man in Up, I suppose.
No, he's not, and that's what I'm saying. You know, if you imagine the old man from Up, which is a film I'm sure everyone loves, and it's a sad film, you can kind of see how he could have been in that state of complete depression, that he just wanted to fly away, you know, and this was his way of doing it.
So he's saying wanted attention,
wanted
to be just punished maybe for living.
Perhaps, yeah. We don't know the full agenda for it, but we know.
Now, I have thrown out the line to Sandy, and he might get back to us. I don't know.
Have you written to him?
I sent an email to him. Now, it was a little bit abusive. I know you say probably.
You shouldn't have. Is this before he got reprieved?
Yes, I was acting as if he was a criminal. It looks like he might only be doing, I suppose, community service. Which of us in this room hasn't done community service? You know, that's the reality.
That's the truth.
But the story got me interested in that other crazy bank robberies, because, I mean, that surely is not the most crazy bank robbery. It'll probably be the most crazy bank robbery of 2020. But I asked myself, well, what other stupid bank robbers have been out there in recent history? What other crazy bank robberies have we had? Have you ever come across any at all?
No, I haven't. But I like the way you're going with this, because
would you rob a bank if you knew you could get away with it?
I think, who doesn't dream of winning the lottery, or who doesn't?
That's totally different.
I know it's different.
Robbing a bank and winning the lottery.
I know it's different, but what I'm trying to say is, you know, who hasn't dreamed of this stuff?
So, like fantasize.
Yeah. Thanks, Brittany, for joining us. Who hasn't fantasized about, you know, being
Schoolgirls.
a superhero?
What was that Brittany song?
Doing a heist, whatever it might be. We've all fantasized about it, and particularly when you're watching shows like Money Heist and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
You definitely fantasize. And
you think, like, what would your
how would I
perfect
do it?
plan
what would
be?
My plan B. So yeah, I absolutely have fantasized about robbing a bank and how you can get away with it and stuff like that.
You heard it here first, folks.
But it's actually, you know, getting away with it is the hardest part of getting away with it is laundering the money.
That's a really good point, I'd imagine. And obviously Money Heist has gotten you thinking about that probably.
Absolutely,
as well.
Yeah. And just some people I know who are involved in that kind of stuff. You know, they, in order to learn how to detect it, you have to learn how to do it.
Okay.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's very interesting.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'd imagine someone on the bank robbers team is going to have to own some kind of restaurant or something.
Some kind of business or something, that they can essentially cook the books or whatever. But it's trying to find that nowadays. That they actually do a project on it, and actually they do it virtually, basically.
So people involved in trying to catch bank robbers, catch a thief, you have to be a thief, kind of thing.
You essentially have to know how to be a thief. Yeah.
That reminds me of a really drunken conversation we had. It might have even been on this show, where we were talking about what's the difference between a real bank robbery and a simulated one. Like, if you go in with a real gun and I do the exact same things as you with a fake gun, was the scenario the exact same according to the eyes of the law or something like that? Do you remember that?
I do. We did have a conversation about that.
So anyway, what do you have a great getaway? Do you have the perfect bank robbery? Like you said, you fantasize about it. So what would you have done? How many people would you have on the team?
I'm not going to discuss it right now.
Just in case we need funding.
Yes.
Okay.
No, but it's one person.
Really?
Yes.
So you're the getaway person as well as the robber.
You're the fucking.
That could never work, Goldie.
It could work, and we might discuss it off air.
So you'd have to go out and you'd have to start up your car, put the key in the ignition.
Who says I'm using a car? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't really go
shocking.
Into full
shocking.
detail,
okay,
but it's something I'm sure. Like,
revelatory.
People listening outside there at the moment definitely have thought about how to get away
Yeah.
with robbing a bank or get away with murder or whatever it is, winning the lottery, being a superhero, all these fantastical stuff that we know will never happen. You know, we all do it.
It's interesting. One of the stories that I rejected for today's show was a woman who's won the lottery 3 times.
Wow.
Now, one of them was a big win. The other 2 were smaller, but I always think, like, if I won the lottery once, like, and I'm rich,
why would you put it on again?
Yeah.
Maybe just to be a story. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
We're never happy with no matter what we have.
We're never happy.
As a people.
You want something for years, you get it. You don't spend the rest of your life being happy with that thing. You want the next thing.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. You know. So tell us about the strangest one you came across.
There was loads, and I had to edit them down. It's crazy. There are really no offense. Your scenario sounds shit to me straight away, which is one. No, genuinely, I don't see how you can have one bank robber. I know what you mean in that if there's 2, there's a risk of betrayal, etc., etc. But no, you need more than one. So that would strike me straight away as a loser scenario for you.
Okay, but no, I haven't told you the exact scenario, but that's fine.
That's true. We'll discuss it after the show.
You have to be more intelligent these days, but go ahead.
Okay, so I called out a couple. There's so many, and you tell me when to stop, and we can discuss each one. So there was one bank robber. This is my favorite. A bank robber in America. He left his wallet after fleeing the scene. So he robbed the bank. He actually got out of the bank.
Okay.
And he left his wallet.
He was on his own.
He was on his own.
Okay.
Driver's license, everything in the wallet. So the police were easily able to pick him up. But here's a really, really interesting one. Now, this is true. I thought this was like the story that you pulled up earlier. I thought this can't be real. This is too. It's just too stupid to be a joke. So it's in San Francisco. It's only 2 years ago.
Okay.
Robert walked into a Bank of America branch, and it's important that you know that it's a Bank of America branch. So you got to imagine 2 banks kind of across the road from each other.
Yeah.
So Bank of America branch. He walked in.
Excuse me.
And he wrote down on the place where you'd fill out you still do that, like you fill out your deposit slips and stuff like that. Yeah. When was the last time you were physically in a bank?
About a week ago.
Okay. But do you still work in Centra? Oh, no.
I was lodging a check.
Okay. What was the check for?
To an ATM machine. The check was...
So you actually weren't in the bank then, were you?
It was for car insurance, not a €30 rebate they gave you back.
Yeah.
So...
you got that in the form of a check?
I did, yeah. How'd you get it?
I think it was Super Value voucher, something stupid like that. Do you want to donate to charity? Was in massive block capital letters.
You're like, fuck that.
And then in tiny letters, or we can give you Super Value or Circle K vouchers. I'm not in a magic plan.
So you went in and got a few sausages.
I haven't even used it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with €10. It's going to be a bonanza.
You only got €10, did you?
€10
oh, Jesus,
from the car
30.
insurance.
I got 30.
How much is your car insurance?
About 600-700 quid.
Wow.
What is yours?
I think 360, 370.
Yeah, you're driving a heap of shite though, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm glad now. I'm paying half
Listen, I'm overdue a new car as well, but this fella here, fuck me.
So in San Francisco, Robert walked into what bank?
Bank of America.
Bank of America, right? So he walked in, he got one of those slips. So in front of, imagine you and me are queuing there before COVID. And he writes down, I'm going to have to quote this. It's totally misspelled. We can put it up after the show. This is IZ, a stick up, STIKKUP. Put all your money in this bag. He, needless to say, spent money wrong, right? So he wrote it there and then in the bank.
Okay.
But after he wrote it, he kind of panicked because maybe someone in the queue, he was thinking someone saw me write this note. Yeah. So he didn't come in wearing a mask or whatever. So he was thinking, I'll be easily able to be identified. So he didn't stay in the Bank of America. He panicked. He thought someone would recognize him. He took the note and he walked out and he crossed the road to go into the other bank. The other bank was...
It's clever in a way, but obviously I can see what's coming. Yeah.
What was the other bank called, do you think?
The American Bank.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo again. These poor fuckers. I don't know how they stay in business. So he walked across the road to Wells Fargo Bank with the note that he'd written. This is a stick
from the other bank. Yeah.
From the other bank, and he gave it to the teller. And this is where, like, you've just got to suspend your disbelief because this is true. I checked it, and it's there on 3 independent news sites. Huh?
We should have had it up, but it's fine.
Should have had it up. And it's weird. This is just a side note on the Sandy Hawkins thing. But you see, so anyway, he gave it to the teller, and the teller told him she couldn't accept the stick-up note because it was written on a Bank of America deposit slip.
That is amazing. That's one ballsy fucking bank teller, isn't it?
But wait, the fucker accepts this and he walks out of the bank
I love it. That's genius.
He walks out of the bank
Okay.
and goes back into the Bank of America bank. In the meantime, the teller in the Wells Fargo bank rings the police and tells them exactly what's happened. The guy goes in, robs the Bank of America bank, and the police are waiting for him when he walks outside.
Absolutely amazing.
So
how much did he get?
I don't know how much he got. He got nothing because the police took it off in the minute he got out of the bank.
How much did he get out of the
I don't
bank
know.
with, or how much? That's an amazing story. And obviously, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see what this fella looks like.
Well, I'm sure we can find. I don't know. Yeah, I can never figure out how our criminals' identities in certain cases are protected if they're underage, for example, like in that girl who was murdered in Lucan. In any other case, if you're found guilty of a crime, is your identity out there in the open for everyone?
Well, once you're found guilty, you are.
Okay, so presumably this guy we can find.
They would be protected up until that point.
Okay. Under no circumstances, like apart from if you're under 18, would your identity be protected? Do you think?
Some sexual stuff
to protect the victim. Is it
protect the victim and possibly the person, depending on the particular case and how how complicated it was, maybe.
Oh, okay. This definitely wasn't complicated, so presumably his name's out there. Do you want me to go on, or?
I think we should hear one more story, because that was a fantastic story.
Okay, this one's even better.
If you don't want to listen to this, pop up a message there and let us know.
Because I've got like 5 more, and
we're not going to do 5.
Okay,
give me your best one of the remaining 4. For Christ's
this one. It's up to you, Goldie.
The first one saying, Goldie. Can I ask you a question first of all? The story you just told me, where did that rate in the list?
It was just one of the ones in the middle. It just jumped out at me, as did this one, though, in fairness as well.
No, but from the 5 that you've picked, why did you tell me that other one first?
Oh, there's 7. So the first 2 that I've done, there's 5 more. There's just stupid people out there, Goldie. It's incredible.
The question I'm asking you is, why did you pick that story over the other ones? Do you feel that's one of the best?
The Sandy Hawkins one, the
one where your man went into the bank and fidgeted out the lottery slip. Because that's the best one so far.
Right. I don't know. No, it just came up probably. This one is equally good.
So sad.
I am sad.
But sad. Oh, here we have somebody ringing in here. We have a caller.
Hopefully, it's a bank robber.
VK. Hello, VK.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're very good.
Okay, VK. How are you? I love this show.
I'm fine, thank you. So, how are you guys doing?
We're looking for theories about bank robberies. Are you ringing in because you've got an idea about robbing a bank, or have you ever robbed a bank, or?
No, not at all, my friend. What are you saying?
Yeah, no, we were just discussing on our show. It's a very bad thing to do, VK.
No, it's not good. Why are you talking about robbery in the bank? It's not good at all.
No, we don't agree with robbery of banks at all. It's just it came up in the news, VK, and I just feel, if you're going to rob a bank.
Thanks, Ron Glenn.
Well, you're right. It's not right. But were you listening to the show earlier, VK?
I don't think no. See, I think VK has come in and is a little bit confused. VK, we're not advocating robbing a bank. We're just reading stories of people that have robbed banks, and we're kind of laughing about how silly some of them have been in their method. Do you get me what I'm saying, VK?
VK, we're prepared to give you.
Guys, carry on.
We're prepared to give you €1,000 right now.
Yeah. No, thanks very much, VK. And VK, whereabouts are you based?
So we can get the money to you.
Come again? Pardon me.
Whereabouts are you living? What country are you from, or what city?
I'm from India.
From India. You're very welcome onto the show. We're from Ireland. Yeah, you're very welcome on the show.
It's crazy, VK, to be able to talk to someone in India just randomly out of the 7 billion people on the planet. You're now, we're talking to you and you're talking to us
You're part of our history.
And we'll never meet each other in real life. This always amazes me about the world we're living in. We're like, two marbles just bouncing off each other, VK.
You are absolutely right. I'm also very amazing to talk to you guys.
Thank you very
It's my
much.
pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Did we say something that triggered something in the CIA? And
No, it's all
hold
good.
on, this is fucking Vodafone. I rang them ages ago.
No, that's not right. Well, the next topic I'm going to talk about is weddings.
Would you mind me doing one more story? I've got one last good one.
Okay, we'll give you VK. You don't mind hearing one more bank story, do you?
Okay. You go ahead with your stories. I am
Yeah.
here to listen.
Well, actually, VK, this isn't about a bank robber. It's about a robber in a corner store. It was an Indian corner store in Colorado Springs. And a robber came in with a gun into this corner store. And he demanded money. And the teller, the shopkeeper behind the cash register and behind the protective glass gave him the money, obviously. I mean, you've worked in retail. I've worked in retail.
We've all worked in retail.
So you're not going to risk, getting shot. So the clerk gave the bank robber, gave the robber the money, but then the robber demanded a bottle of scotch that was behind, the plexiglass or whatever.
Yeah.
And the clerk refused him because the robber didn't look like he was over 21. I'm not joking. This is real. And obviously you have to be over 21 in America to buy alcohol.
Yeah.
So the clerk refused him and wouldn't give him the bottle of scotch after having given him the tills takens for the night.
It's amazing, isn't it?
The robber.
So
Yeah. Go on,
did he
VK.
refuse to give him this scotch?
Yeah,
Yes.
because he thought thought the robber was under 21.
He was too young. Yeah, he was too young. He was only a child.
And the robber insisted he was over 21. The clerk still refused the second time.
Don't tell me he gives his ID.
VK, what do you think the robber actually went and did?
Oh, it's a very difficult question you asked me.
It's not that difficult. It's fairly fucking obvious.
So
VK.
the robber is trying to prove to the
What would
clerk
you do
he's
if
over
you were going
21
in-
years of age.
If you're being told you're not old enough to buy alcohol, VK, what are you doing?
I think he is not looking for money. He is looking for alcohol.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Try and keep up with us, VK, right? If you're in a liquor store...
He has the money by this stage.
If you're in the liquor store, okay, and you're underage and you're asked, or you're overage even, and you're asked to prove your age, what would you do?
I will how to prove.
Yes, go on.
I will show them my passport. I will show them
Exactly,
my passport.
exactly, VK.
Yeah.
So
VK,
this
you got
clerk
done,
refused to serve the robber unless he proved he was over 21. So the robber showed him his driver's license. and the clerk gave him the scotch. The minute the robber left, the clerk rang the guards or the police.
I don't think we should change the name of the show.
With the person's and just gave the person's details.
Yeah.
And the police, probably at the end of their shift, just went and picked up the guy. So this has got to be the worst robber ever. He actually gives his ID to the person he's robbing just to make sure he can't get away with it.
It's amazing. It really is amazing.
So he was arrested
It's a funny story.
because he gave.
because
he handed over him his ID. So
Exactly,
police arrested him. Huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. You got it in one, VK. You
This
got
is
a hold
real.
in one, mate.
This happened.
You got a hold
If
in one.
VK, if you were to
It's like
type this in,
a friend of mine's
Colorado
hold in one.
Springs robbery, that you'll see that this is real. I'm not making
Just
this up.
Google it
There
up
are
there.
people out there that are that stupid in America, and he gave his ID.
You have Google in India.
So you mean you should not give your ID to anyone, huh?
Exactly.
In any
Well, if you're robbing a bank or a store, yeah, you've got to hide your ID. Now, most people in Ireland would have fake ID, which then would lead to a lot of complications.
It would.
But yeah, definitely VK. If you ever do rob a bank, don't give them your ID. If there's a moral in this story.
That's
Can I ask
great,
VK?
great,
VK, what
great
does what does your name stand for? The V and the K. Like, is it your name?
Yeah, it's my name.
What? Sorry, you broke up there on us. Say again.
It's my nickname, VK.
VK.
What's your nickname?
VK.
Sorry, it's cool.
It looks like Viking almost. VK. It's a lovely name. VK and Charlie, have you ever been to a wedding? I'm sure you've been invited to a wedding.
I was at my own wedding.
Yeah, so many weddings. Yeah, I have been to so many weddings.
Yeah, Sam's welcome to the show. So myself and Charlie have been to weddings as well. And there's some invitations that you get that are more unusual than the others. Some people ask you to wear formal. Some people look for black tie. Some people always look for different teams or different.
So they're asking the guests to wear certain clothes.
To have different rules and stuff like that. And no, but the point is you get all different types of wedding invitations. Have you ever, first of all, turned down a wedding invitation?
Are you asking me or VK?
VK, have you ever turned down a wedding invitation?
Not really.
No, because I'd imagine I have a lot of Indian friends actually, funny enough, and as a people, you're very respectful, and honor and loyalty and all that kind of stuff is very important to you, and friendship and stuff. So I can understand how you would always make the effort to go. But here in Ireland, we're not as we're not like we didn't have Gandhi. Do you know what I mean? So we're not as far along. And we would sometimes pick and choose what weddings we go to. Do you know? And if I ever got away,
so you would refuse weddings, is what you're saying, Goldie?
I would,
invitations.
And sometimes it just comes down to that you might be too busy, that you might not have the money because it can be very expensive, or it just doesn't suit for a particular reason. But what we have in Ireland, VK, is we have the wedding ceremony in the church, the place of worship, and then we have it in. We'd have a dinner and a dance later on. So we call that the afters.
Social, yeah.
Yeah. But if I was ever just invited to an afters of a wedding, I wouldn't go. And I think we may have discussed.
Yeah, same thing happens here in India also. We also have the weddings in our temples,
In your temples, yeah.
And then is there a non-religious party or ceremony after the temple ceremony?
I'm sure you would have.
Yeah, there is a dinner party.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you invite people to the dinner party that wouldn't have attended the temple ceremony?
Yeah. After temple ceremony, we invite all of our friends to the dinner party.
And would your friends have been at the temple ceremony?
No.
Oh, okay.
All the friends.
Okay.
Well,
right.
Okay. Yeah. So, for example, VK,
I see what you mean.
If you did not invite me to the temple ceremony, okay, I wouldn't go to your wedding.
Why?
But that's how it works. That's how it works in Ireland. But you have a very different culture, so that's normal for yourself. But in Ireland, it's a great honor to be brought to the ceremony, and to not be allowed to do that, and then you're only invited to the non-spiritual part, say, afterwards. Well, then I don't feel that you want me there enough, so I'm not going to go. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So there are some rituals now in every country. There are different rituals, and it's your choice. You want to attend the ceremony or not? It's up to you.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah.
So VK, when you said you've never refused a wedding invitation, have you ever been invited to just the dinner party afterwards?
Yeah, well, I think that's what VK is saying, is that that's normal for them. That's normal for the Indian people.
To only be invited.
Only the family go to the ceremony, I assume. Is that right, VK?
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah,
only a family persons are invited in the temple ceremony, and lots of other persons or your friends are invited for the dinner party. Later after the temple ceremony.
Yeah.
So in the temple, there'd only be like 8 people or 10 people at it, maybe.
Yeah, only family members.
And then at the meal after, is there a traditional number of in people? Like, would there be 100 people at a party after, or?
Yeah, there may be 500 also, 1,000 also.
Yeah,
1,000.
Yeah, they have massive.
1,000 people.
Yeah, it's a big.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's like a rave, kind of.
It's almost like a big dance party. But
1,000 people. That's crazy.
Let's get to the story here, okay? So
yeah.
VK, in this particular example, and this happened in, I think it may have, I'm okay, thank you. I may have happened in England. A rude couple's wedding invite blasted as they sort guests into 3 categories. So you can imagine VK with the coronavirus, COVID-19, obviously interrupting wedding ceremonies. This couple decided that they would send everyone invites, but categorize the people. So there was 3 groups. There was Group A, Group B, and Group C. Okay, and basically, if you're in Group A, you would have to RSVP as soon as possible. So you'd have to let them know as soon as possible that you were going, because if you didn't, you could give vacancies to Group B and then Group C.
So Group A are the people that are invited.
Group A are the people that are invited, and it actually tells you at the bottom of the invite, you are in Group A.
Wait, so if you're in Group B, you'd actually get sent an invitation,
yes,
but you're not actually invited to the wedding. You're on the waiting list.
You're on the waiting list, which, basically a waiting list for a wedding. Isn't that insulting?
That is so insulting. Jesus.
Why waiting list means? I didn't understand. What did you say? Group A
for
to Group B. What does that mean?
So it looks like a couple were getting married, and they divided when they were trying to decide about their guest list. They created a Group A, a Group B, and a Group C. And Group A were actually invited to the wedding. So let's say VK, you were in Group A, and myself and Goldie were in Group B. So we would have gotten the same wedding invitation, but the difference is your wedding invitation, because you're Group A, means you're actually invited to the wedding, and you need to reply to say you're going as soon as possible. Myself and Goldie,
if I'm absent,
we would have gotten the wedding invitation that would say
the same wedding invitation.
Yeah, the same wedding invitation, but it tells me at the bottom I'm Group B. So I'm not actually going to your wedding unless somebody in Group A can't go or cancels. That's really insulting. That's crazy.
Would you find that insulting, Vic?
It's like a reservation of the trains and on.
It totally is.
It's like reservations. Yeah. On the trams. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Exactly like that. You have to wait for another tram to come, and it may never come.
Well, the 2 trams will come at the same time, or something like ridiculous.
Yeah. So you should not accept that invitation.
Absolutely not.
I think this is what Goldie is saying.
If you're
VK.
in Group B or C, you're not going to that wedding.
What about you, VK?
Would you still go?
Group B and C should not accept that invitation. Yeah. You should reject that.
Plus, I don't even think if you're in Group B or C, you're being asked. I don't even think you're being asked to accept it.
No, you have to keep a close watch.
Yeah, I think basically you're being told we don't want to hear from you, because in Group A it says, I don't know, VK, if you can see our webpage, but we have the wedding invitation on the webpage, and it says on Group A, please reply as soon as possible. But on Groups B and C, it doesn't ask you to reply, so you're not even asking to reply, really. It's
you
so
have to keep an eye on
insulting.
their website. They have there's websites for weddings.
How badly do you want to go to a wedding?
So Group B and C people should not go to that ceremony.
They've created a caste system for the wedding. It's ridiculous.
So we've essentially got you to accept that there are occasions where you will not. You will actually reject a wedding, basically.
VK, you say there could be 1,000 people at a wedding ceremony. Are you married yourself, VK?
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you get such a big number? Who do you invite? You invite your friends. So do you invite everybody in the village?
Actually, I invited my friends, but the main problem here in India is that I invite my friend, but my friend also invite their friends.
Are you joking?
So your friend invited their friends.
I even don't know their friends, but I invite my friends, and my friend invited their friends. I don't know them.
Is that not a bit insulting to you, though?
I don't know them.
So VK, what do you do at the wedding party? Do you provide a sit down meal, or is there food on a is there food at a wedding party for 1,000 guests?
It's a food. It's a food.
So there is food.
It's mainly food, yeah.
Right. So you
It's a dinner party, na?
It's a sit. Is it a sit down dinner party?
Do you sit down at a table and they serve you?
No.
So what is it
They
like?
come. Yeah. They come. They have their food and go. No
Okay.
sitting.
Oh,
Like
yes,
McDonald's.
yeah, it's a buffet.
Sitting is for. You can say there is sitting for 100 people, but 1,000 people will eat. Sitting for 100 people.
Basically, the people that come to the ceremony sit down, and everyone else is just standing there waiting for the scraps. I love it.
And that didn't annoy you.
You understood my point.
It's a buffet.
You understood my point.
No, I did. 100%. There's 100 people get
That's
to
crazy.
sit down and have their meal, and then the other 1,000, they walk around with a plate and they put food on their plate.
So they take it off to people that are sitting down.
Go off and eat in the corner, standing up with a plastic fork, a bit of naan bread. No bother.
Yes.
So VK, have you ever been? So you said that at your own wedding, your friends invited their friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So have you ever attended a wedding where you didn't actually know the couple that were getting married? You were like a friend of a friend. Does that make sense?
Yes. I also.
So you attended that?
I also attended. Yeah, I also attended 2 or 3 weddings. Right?
Okay. So do you bring a present?
You're going to get a free meal. Why wouldn't you go?
Yeah. Well, is it a free meal? That's what I'm
No.
asking. Do you bring a present? Is there a traditional?
Yeah. No. I didn't give any present. I went there for free meal.
Free.
You went there for free meal.
I love your honesty, VK. Was it a good meal? 3 times.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What did you have? A korma.
A good meal freely.
Yeah, what was it? Because we have like kormas, we have boonies, we have jalfrezis. What else?
Jalfrezi is very hot. Yeah. But I don't know. Would you eat that at a wedding?
Vindaloo, obviously.
Vindaloo, no,
Yeah.
not at a wedding.
What was it at the wedding, VK?
It's a very common here in India. There is
Vindaloo.
no passes to enter in wedding ceremony. Nobody knows who is coming and eating.
That's crazy.
But I'm asking you a question, Vicky. What is the food? What did you get when you went for the free food? What did you eat? What were your options?
We have all the options. It's a very delicious food.
You're like the Indian version of the meatballs. It's like the Indian version of Sam. I'm asking you a specific question. Yeah, I know there might be lots of different types of foods, but what exactly was it? Did you have a vindaloo?
I think VK is saying there's options.
What did you have? What did you actually have?
What did VK have?
I don't know. Actually, we have a vegetarian food. Like, there are so many varieties.
Is there? So you have a lot of choices.
Yeah. So it's like a Jamal fight.
Yeah, there are many choices.
Yeah.
Wow.
There is no limitations. There are so many choices.
So it must be very, very expensive, a wedding to put on.
Yeah, it's very expensive. It's like a hotel. You go to the hotel and there is
a buffet
in the morning
breakfast,
buffet type.
Would you believe, VK, that my best friend, who's Goldie, my co-host, refused my wedding invitation because he didn't want to give us a present?
But how will you know that he will not give you a present if you invited him?
Because he didn't. I invited him and I got married and he didn't give me a present. He said he couldn't come that day and I said, well, you can still give me the present. But he didn't.
I didn't even turn up.
I'm still there are so many weddings.
But I just got married
once. There are so many weddings.
Yeah, I know. In your lifetime, yes, you're right, VK. You will attend so many weddings in your lifetime, but I presume, VK, you have like a best friend, the person who's your male friend who's the most important to you in the world.
There are so many weddings I could not attend it, but I still
It's like,
send them my present.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. So VK, like to ask you a direct question, you wouldn't have one best friend that you would
tell your deepest secrets.
yeah, that is more important to you than any other friend.
No, come again. What do you
So do you have like does the concept of best friend as in
Your BFF.
you have one
Who's your
friend
BFF,
that is more
Vicky?
important, one person, not your wife, like a friend who is more important than any other friend? Would you have somebody like that?
friends? There should be someone, but I don't have anyone like this.
Okay.
well,
So
that's
at a
sorry to hear
wedding,
that.
you at a wedding ceremony, you don't have a best man then, no?
No.
Obviously not, I suppose. That
You
must
don't
be
have
a
a number
Western
one
thing.
man. You don't have a number one
Okay,
man.
so
Okay.
right.
VK, you can stay with us there, but let's kind of move on with the show and let's not lose some traction here, okay? This is another story that we've got in from Charlie this week. And talk to us about this. You're talking about banana art.
Oh yeah, is it art? So, how do you define art? This is the perennial question. We could do another 3-hour show on what is art.
I think I've seen this story
Have you?
a couple
Yeah,
of months ago. Yeah.
it's crazy. Yes, so the original story is from a few months ago, but like we would have grown up, and VK, you'd be the same. You grow up and you come across paintings that are like realistic. They show real people, you know, like Van Gogh, Caravaggio, whoever. You know what art? You think you know what art is, but in December of 2019, in a Miami art gallery, an artist put up a banana taped with duct tape onto a wall in an art gallery. And that was his
piece.
Yeah, I was going to say his art project, but that makes it sound like it's school. Like if a kid gave that to me in school, I would fail it.
Yeah.
So that was his artistic piece. So this artist is called Catalan. Maurizio Catalan. And he's an Italian artist. And he is, believe it or not, really famous. Now, not to us, I suppose, in the everyday world, but in the art world, he's famous.
He's like the Banksy or...
Yeah, he actually is. And do you know what? Both Catalan and Banksy did the same work of art in that Catalan was the guy who designed the golden toilet for Trump. Okay. Do you know the way Trump was offered a toilet made out of gold and he refused it in 2017 or whatever? This is the same artist. And then Banksy in the lockdown did a toilet-based art or whatever in London. But this guy anyway, Catalan, in the art gallery in Miami, sticks up a banana with duct tape on the wall. He has 3 editions of this, like I can't call it a painting. I don't even know what to call it.
It's a piece.
It's a piece of art. VK, are you still with us, VK?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to have a guess, VK, as to how much this artist got for that piece of art? A banana stuck with duct tape on a wall. He sold this piece of art in Miami.
And there's a twist to this, I think.
There is. Do you want to guess how much he sold it for?
No. Tell me how much.
Do you want to give a guess? You'd have to give a guess in dollars, VK.
Work with us here, VK.
Yeah, come on. In dollars. It has to be in dollars.
Around
$1,000.
$1,000.
Good guess.
That's a really good guess.
But it's wrong.
I presume you wouldn't pay $1,000. Do you want to guess, Goldie? Yeah. You're wrong, VK.
Yeah, I did. I obviously confess. I did read the story a couple of months ago, but I haven't seen how much it is.
So how much was that?
I can't remember.
How much?
I'm going to guess 50,000.
50,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be.
Whoa. But why?
Hold on, VK. Do you want to know how much it actually? That's 50,000 was Goldie's guess. It actually sold for $120,000. So the piece of banana with duct tape on a wall in a Miami art gallery sold for $120,000. Here's the crazy thing.
But
go on, VK.
Why so?
Because it's art. It's art. This is the crazy thing. It makes no sense to us.
It's not art.
it's
We
not
can show
art
you
to me.
if you're watching us on Twitch or watching us
I'd
on
actually agree with VK.
Facebook,
It's not art.
You can see
like
the pictures.
VK could get sellotape
and you can
stick
see
a banana
our
on his
live
wall.
webcam.
I'd agree with you, VK. It's not art at all. But this is the thing. In America, it's sold for $120,000. But here's what amazes me.
Yeah, after it was bought.
But even before that, the artist produced, I'm going to call it 3 editions because that's what he called it. He had 3 editions of his piece of art. In other words, he had 3 bananas with 3 pieces of duct tape sellotaped on the wall. He sold each one. So the first 2 sold for $120,000. He put the third one in an auction and it sold for $150,000. So the guy sold 3 bananas. I don't know how much a roll of duct tape costs, but let's say roughly $2 is what the piece of work cost.
He made a lot of money, Charlie.
He made a lot. He made almost $500,000 from this.
Listen, guys. It is. I think this is to save the income tax from the government.
Live on air. Go on.
Sorry, VK.
It is the strategy. It is the strategy to save income tax from the government. Yeah. It is not the actual cost. It is for showing to the persons of the country. It is not the actual cost. It is saving income tax.
No, I know what you mean, VK. Like the Mona Lisa is worth a certain amount, but no one can buy it. I know what you mean. But this is actually somebody bought that. Somebody paid. Someone put $120,000 into.
But for what? What is it? Banana? But banana.
It's a banana with a duct tape on the wall, but it's in an art gallery. That's the thing.
Listen, my friend. That banana in 1 day, in 24 hours time, it will get finished.
I'm so glad you said that, VK. I'm so glad because this is the second part of the story.
Listen to this.
This is brilliant, VK. Exactly. In 24 hours or in 48 hours to be precise, what would have happened to the work of art? It would have started to rot.
It would have perished. But no,
so
he wasn't going to let that happen,
no.
VK. But he wouldn't let
go on, Goldie.
The person who bought this decided that he is not going to let that banana perish. So, because he spent so much money on it, VK. He spent so much money on it. He wasn't going to let it perish. So what did he do?
Yeah, they are making fool of everyone. It is not actual.
No,
well, actually, believe it or not, no, he didn't let someone do this. He tried to sue the guy who did this. But first of all, I'm going to give you a quote, guys.
Can anyone guess who's listening? Brittany.
Yeah, while I'm reading out this quote, think what happened after. So I'm going to quote Catalan. And this is what Catalan said. He had been working on this piece of art for 1 year. Okay? Well, I swear to God, this is what Catalan said. He'd been working on this piece of art for 1 year. Initially, it was supposed to be a bronze banana. One day, these aren't my words, guys. This is Catalan's words. One day, I woke up. I couldn't figure out how to finish it. In the end, one day, I woke up and said, the banana is supposed to be a banana. And then I had my piece. So he'd been thinking about a banana for a year. In other words, he'd been working on his piece of art for a year. He woke up one day and realized, I actually have to just fuck a banana on the wall. And it's sorted. VK, if you came into my house and you stuck a banana on the wall of my kitchen,
you'd have him arrested.
Oh yeah, I'd have you arrested. Seriously, it's like kind of desecration of my house. But if you did it in an art gallery, VK, you could actually earn 120 grand. Now I think Goldie knows the second part of this story.
No, Brittany, and Brittany, thank you very much. We have a
good try, Brittany.
He embalmed the banana. No, he didn't, because that would be a waste of a banana, Brittany.
And it would change the artwork.
Exactly. So VK.
No, what happened? What happened after 40 hours?
No, he didn't eat it.
No, not the artist. The person who bought it.
No, this is the crazy thing. This is so fucked up. People bought the banana, but they didn't get it to take home. So, in other words, they bought the banana. So, let's say I had 120 grand. This is true.
Somebody had it.
Somebody had it, but it's not the person who bought it. So, if I bought this banana, I got a certificate authenticating the work that I bought it. I didn't get to take it home with me, okay?
Wow.
So the banana. So I spent 120 grand on this banana. It still stays in the Miami wall. The Miami Art Gallery. And now, like Brittany, really good effort with embalming the banana. VK, you're on the right track. The banana's going to go rotten. 2 days after the banana went up, or the bananas, I suppose we should say bananas because it's 3.
There's 3 of them, yeah.
2 days after the art piece went up on the Miami wall, a guy walked into the art gallery and he took the banana off the wall. He got his friend to record it and he ate the banana.
So this is a randomer.
This is well, he's not a randomer. He's a New York performance artist called David Detona.
Wow.
David Detona.
It's months ago since I read this, but I knew it was eaten.
So David Detona walked in off the street. He had it planned. Someone recorded him, so we can put the link up online. Someone recorded him eating the banana.
Make sure you do that now during the week.
And he ate it in front of a group of people who were watching the banana. And he called him eating the banana a piece of art. This is where it gets so fucked up.
So presumably we're going to see some court cases.
So
No,
he was
this is crazy.
so he was eating a rotten banana.
Well, it was only
Yeah,
2 days.
Vicky.
It was 2 days
It was
old.
2
So
days old,
yeah,
but, like,
it
that's
probably
not
wasn't
really
the best.
point,
It wasn't
VK.
rotten.
You're like,
But the
on,
point
you need to
is-
keep up here. He ate a banana.
He
Worth
created a
120
new
grand.
piece of art. I suppose it's
VK's
actually not that
concerned
different. You know the
about
way? Did you see in the Corona?
It's a wastage of money.
Just give me a second.
It's a wastage of money.
It is. It's
It is
a
about
waste of
money. You're actually right, VK. It is about money.
No,
We'll
it's
get to
a
that.
waste of money.
But first of all,
In terms of
it is also about art. I'm not listening at all. Do you remember in the lockdown, people put up like memes and so on? The Mona Lisa wearing a face mask.
Yes.
So we take a piece of art and we make it modern.
I can't believe your face is just. So
I know.
funny.
So you look lovely.
It's very good. But go on.
But so this guy David Detona created a work of art out of a work of art because Catalan's banana on the wall turned into a new piece of art. When David Detona ate it, he got someone to video it, and he created a new piece of art which he called The Hungry Artist. And he described his piece of work as, quote, "I love this piece. It's very delicious." Detona was not sued by Catalan for this. This is the crazy thing.
Why? What? Tell us.
I don't know. But all I can say, no, I don't know why someone didn't sue someone for not eating their piece of work. All I can say is this: David Detona was so inspired by this that this is the new news story this week. David Detona is now performing food-based art. David Detona has booked a room in a New York art gallery in which visitors experience eating food-based art off the wall for themselves. David Detona calls it an interactive food show. So basically, David Detona has put up various elements of food on a wall. You can come in, and if you want to eat the food off the wall, it's going to cost you $450. You can eat the piece of food, and you'll also get a certificate authenticating the piece of work that you just ate. Now,
What?
exactly, VK. Like I'm all for experimentalism. I mean, we all grew up looking at Dali's pictures of the melting clock and all that, and that's cool. It's weird, but I never got Jackson Pollock's just like flinging paint at the canvas and all that. Yeah,
This is how I feel today. Or
Yeah.
this is me after finding out I didn't win the lottery. Or this is me.
and it's just random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just throws a brush.
I think
or
art
even
needs
uses
to.
hands or whatever.
Yeah, art doesn't need to exactly represent reality. He doesn't have to be a real person looking real. But I feel it's been
There's
pushed
a standard.
so
There's
far.
a minimal standard.
Yeah.
But sure, you have art now that's literally blank. Like somebody will just go down to, the stationery shop, Easton's or whatever, buy a blank canvas and submit it as
Art.
and say that's a picture of their soul or some shit. Do you know what I mean? Like that, it's crazy.
And now look, I don't want to criticize modern art, and this isn't what this is about. It's a really interesting story. Goldie, you and I are.
Brittany's asked, was the banana organic?
That's a really. I don't know. The organic costs a lot more than just your cheap bananas. So I'd imagine it's not. I mean, Brittany, do you buy free range? Brittany's from America, yeah?
We don't know where she's from.
Okay.
It's an American name for sure.
In America, Brittany, do you have like free-range eggs and kind of factory eggs, and the free-range eggs are twice the price of the factory eggs.
They are better.
So Goldie buys the factory eggs, I buy the free-range ones because eggs are so cheap anyway. Yeah. But I don't buy organic banana. So you have that is so true. You've Donald Trump in America.
No, but if banana is rotten,
a banana, like, it grows on trees. It's yellow.
Unorganic, doesn't matter.
Yeah, if it's rotten, it's rotten. You're not going to eat it. I agree with you, VK.
No, you'd use it in smoothie or banana bread. I'd agree with Brittany. Brittany is saying we have everything in America. VK, do you feel in India, what is the one thing in India that you don't have that you would love to have?
Spice burger.
Why? What? No. What in India? What we don't have?
So Brittany, who's listening into the show, has just typed in, we have everything in America. So Brittany's obviously in America, and she's saying they have everything in America. VK, what we're asking you from Ireland is, what one thing in India do you not have
that you would like?
That you would like to have, yeah. That you wish you had.
I think in India everything is available in India. There is nothing. I think America. In America, you should ask to Brittany this question, because in India everything is organic.
Or organic.
India has everything.
Okay.
Yeah, in India everything is organic.
Yeah, but you have like Hershey's chocolate.
And we have everything.
Would you have Hershey's? Would you have Hershey's chocolate or Pringles? Would you have Pringles?
Pringles.
Yeah, Pringles. They're like a tube of crisps, as in like potato fries, potato chips, not fries, potato chips. A tube of potato chips. It looks like a shell, like for ammunition. You don't have.
Yeah, we have here in India.
You do have that, and we call what? We have. What do they call in India? Because we call them Pringles.
Yeah, we have it in India. We have finger chips.
Finger chips, I love them. The little tiny skinny things, mini chips. Yeah, I like that. Yes, KP, they're made by KP. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting one. Charlie's just gone to obviously relieve himself there, so he'll be back with you momentarily. VK, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What has brought you to our show tonight?
Actually, today I was getting bored.
You were in the house bored in the house.
I was getting bored in my home.
Yeah, bored in your house. You're in your house bored. I get it. I fully get it. But we're very happy to have you here. We have Charlie back, and we're going to move on to Charlie's next story. Okay?
Before we go, we're talking about art, yeah?
We're talking about art, yeah.
Do you remember us, not on the show, a few years ago, discussing this exact scenario when you wasn't a banana? Some guy put up in a French museum. I cannot find it anywhere online. Brittany, if you can check, I've looked today. A guy in France produced as a piece of art basically a urinal. He put a urinal up in a French art gallery.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, we discussed this because
I'd appreciate though. Just and sorry, VK.
There's no need to appreciate me. I'm doing this for free.
I'd appreciate if in future you didn't leave during the middle of your stories, because I didn't know where you were going. Do you know what I mean?
That was the story.
Wait until I'm coming into one of my own. But it's fine. Continue on.
That's like the time I had to do Blackbot or Charlie's Children.
Charlie's Children.
So anyway, this guy put up a urinal in a French art gallery or whatever, and it was capturing all attention because people were reading into it. Is this symbolic of French society today, etc.? And a guy walked in and pissed into the urinal. Now you said that Catalan should have sued the other guy.
You'd expect it, there would,
which he didn't do. Yeah. But
Dibaj, welcome to the show.
This guy in France sued the artist of the urinal, sued the man who walked in off the street and pissed into the urinal. The guy who was accused of desecrating an art object walked free because the judge said, all art. It's about interacting with the art. And the man who pissed in the urinal was interacting with it. That would only happen in France. I think, Brittany, you'll agree, in America, you wouldn't get away. We have this image of French people as being so like, yeah, come on, let it go. You know, they interpret things in a really relaxed way. I think that's.
But isn't it funny, because I was only watching a program the other day about World War II, and it's commonly known, everyone knows this, but it was just the first episode of the series, so it's fresh in my mind about the reason. Like, the French had the most sophisticated army in the world
at the start of World War II.
Yeah, they had like the most advanced army in certainly Europe. The Germans were so afraid that the French would attack, because they weren't planning on invading France for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, I remember learning in history that Hitler wrote in his diary or something when he crossed the Rhineland in 1936. He said, like, this is the end of me. He couldn't believe that France didn't do anything, and if they had, they would have wiped the Germans out. Yeah.
Thanks, Brittany.
Oh, Brittany, brilliant. Oh, of the urinal.
Throw it up there, Brittany. But yeah, what we're trying to get at here is that the French surrendered very quickly because they're obviously surprised. But
was it Duchamp, Brittany? Sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the French guy. Duchamp,
100-year-old.
Duchamp. I remember doing them in school. Yeah.
Yeah, she says.
So it's so imagine a urinal was. I actually can't believe they had urinals 100 years ago. I always thought a urinal is a modern invention.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Like you're like, if you look back to the Romans, they had sewer systems and stuff like that. So you can imagine that they didn't have pots to sit on. Do you know what I mean? They probably would have just pissed into some hole or something.
So the males would have been standing up.
I would have thought so. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
That's really interesting.
There we have the.
But Brittany, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. That was 2006. That happened. Goldie, we're getting old. Brittany, that's brilliant for putting that up. I remember that struck a chord with me because I remember thinking, like, at the end of the day, you should be allowed to do what you want with a piece of art. And who am I to say what a piece of art is? I mean, I love books that you would hate, Goldie, and I love movies that you would hate. I love pictures that you would hate, and vice versa. So it's very personal.
3 million.
Wow. Who would? So somebody bought.
What is it about?
And someone desecrated walk free.
You're still with us, VK. This is you can see the link there. This is basically somebody who urinated in a piece of art, basically. But the piece of art was shaped like a toilet. But it was worth 3 million. But he got away with it because art is subjective.
Do you remember when we were kids, there was the really famous Andy Warhol picture of baked beans, Campbell's baked beans?
Yes.
So if that was released nowadays, someone would open the can of beans, presumably with a spoon,
presumably
and eat it.
That would be yeah. But it was a painting. I don't think there was an actual can of beans at the time. But
was it? Okay.
Well, maybe he had one in front of him and he was drawing from
inspired by it.
I don't know. That's a good thing to check out, Brittany, if you're available. Was there an actual Campbell's tin of beans that existed physically?
Well,
Andy Warhol?
Of course there was.
It may not be. It may just be a generic thing that he painted from memory. Like,
there would have been Campbell. There is Campbell's tin.
Yes,
beans.
But there's millions of them. But was there one specifically that he sat on a table and drew from? I don't think so. I'd say he drew from.
Oh, I could be wrong. I thought the can of beans was really a can of beans.
No,
it's a picture of a can of beans.
No,
like it's a
not
photo.
Painted or something. No,
Andy Warhol was a photographer.
Check. No, he did paintings too. I think. Didn't he?
I think this is a picture, though. I don't know. Anyway,
somebody will check it out for us.
Yeah, we're going off the script here.
Yeah, Brittany's saying that they find him anyway, as he felt he was seeing.
That's the guy who pissed into the Duchamp thing.
Pissed in the urinal, yeah. But getting back to World War II.
Imagine doing that. Though. Imagine if I ripped the Mona Lisa smile, and I say I'm trying to. I don't like. They say the Mona Lisa smile, but she's not smiling or whatever.
Yes.
So let's say I went in with a magic marker, and I turned it into a curved smile. Imagine if I got away with a fine for doing that. One of the most famous paintings in the world.
There's certainly precedent there.
Yeah.
There's certainly precedent there for a lawyer.
I would have presumed it would be jail time, definitely. Have you seen the Mona Lisa, Goldie?
I have. I've seen it live. It's nothing special.
Come on. Everyone said it's small, but it is amazing. When you see it real, it's different.
It is small,
I'm not into art at all, but it's pretty special.
I was let down.
Were you? Okay.
My advice to people would be if the only reason you want to go to Paris is to see the Mona Lisa, just Google a picture of it. Honest to God, there's nothing.
I totally disagree. Seeing something real.
Yeah, but Brittany backs me up there. Thank you very much, Brittany. He painted the tin of soup as he loved it.
So it was painted. Wow.
He only painted things he loved. Yeah.
Isn't it weird how memory changes? Like I was positive it was a photo.
Yeah, well there you go. But Brittany, if you can figure out if it was an actual, he also did a banana. He did.
Andy Warhol did a banana.
He did. But if you can figure out if there was an actual can of soup,
what picture of the banana did he do?
I'm not sure, but I'm not trying to dwell on small little factors. I'll be here all night. Brittany, if you can figure out
like every other show.
Brittany, if you can figure out if there was an actual can of beans or soup or whatever it was, let us know.
So that's my story anyway. The interactive.
The point I was getting to with World War II was that the French surrendered earlier because they wanted to protect their art. So that's why they're kind of.
Oh, sorry. Yes, go on. Sorry, I missed you.
And I know we don't want to talk about war, but that's why they didn't want the city of Paris being bombed by the Luftwaffe. Do you know? So they surrendered. They actually declared it not surrendered.
That's why they surrendered.
They declared it an open city. So they actually left the city open and declared that. So it was free for the Germans just to walk in. So nothing will be bombed because they're saying that they're all about their art. It's obviously
so the art,
cultural.
But I'd imagine, like, if you were a Nazi and you walk in, if you're in the Gestapo and you walk in, and Paris is basically open to you, you're going to go into the Louvre and you're going to pilfer stuff for your own private collection. That must have happened quite a lot, I'd imagine.
I don't know. Obviously, the big things weren't, but we're talking, when I talk about the bombings, I'm talking more, not obviously the art, physical art. Play the picture, but I'm talking about the architecture.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, like when you think of how London was destroyed.
Everything.
Yeah.
Put on your headphones.
Do you know, I always had a dirty, sneaky. I'm a French student, as you know, and I love France, but I've always had a sneaky suspicion the reason the French surrendered so easily to the Germans was anti-Semitism, that they didn't like the Jews. I'm not saying they liked the Nazis, but this was a means to an end to a certain extent.
I think you're going completely insane there. There's no way that
I'm going to find evidence of that, because I've read a lot about this 20 years ago. Geez, 22 years ago now. But that the most willing... So obviously every country that was occupied by the Nazis were supposed to hand up their Jews, round them up. And I'll double check this, and I will double check this, because I remember it shocking me at the time, because I would be quite... francophone or whatever, like in favor of France, but they were the most positive country.
There was actually physical cans from the store. So where are they now, and are they worth anything, or are they gone? Continue on.
How long would a can of beans last?
It doesn't matter. It'd be worth money.
I know, but how long would you eat? Like, let's say a can.
It probably lasts.
You bought a lot of stuff, I'd imagine, in the COVID lockdown of tin stuff, yeah, tin tuna, etc., etc., and that has about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten a tin of something that's out of date?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I'm very conscious of stuff like that. So, but continue on with your story.
Sorry, no, it was boring. I can't even remember what it was. It was pointless.
Oh my god.
The French, it was the anti-Semitism. Oh yeah, the French were the most... The Germans didn't have to put any pressure on the French to round up Jews, whereas they did in Poland, they did in Latvia, because the Latvian authorities or whatever weren't so willing to give up the Jews.
Potentially, but they certainly didn't.
The French
were
just...
They certainly didn't want them invading, and they were just... The Blitzkrieg caught them by surprise. There was a new type of warfare. It was too fast, and I actually alluded to it earlier on in another show I do. All their soldiers were on crystal meth. And that kept them up for 3 and 4 days straight.
The German soldiers?
The German soldiers were basically on crystal meth, and that's what made them fearless and function for 3 days without sleeping. And it just took them, like, the German army was far inferior, and there was actually an opportunity. There was a massive traffic jam of the Germans that, if they had actually...
Traffic jam?
Basically a traffic jam of German artillery, that they were stuck, and a French plane flew over, reported it, and the general said, "Oh, that has to be fake. It couldn't possibly be true." And if they had have actually followed up on that intelligence and bombed it, the war would have been over that day. And it's amazing to think.
And then we will. But if the war was over that day, would we be learning about it in school and so on?
If the war was over in a day, we certainly probably wouldn't be as advanced as we are.
Do you know what I've often wondered? At what point in history did we start calling that war World War II? I mean,
I often think about it, because the first one was originally the Great War.
The Great War, yeah. So when did they decide there was a sequel? Do you imagine it was during the war? They said, right, this is like the second. They probably called it Second World War.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Or was it after, when
I think probably
there was one, like, do you know the way there must have been one historian who decided, right, we're going to call this Romanticism, or we're going to call this Modernism. It's one guy comes up, or girl comes up with that idea, but usually a guy.
Yeah.
So did at some point one historian say, right, I'm calling this World War II just because it's the second?
Presumably somebody did.
I'd
Presumably
love to know who.
Thanks, Brittany. The soup can was an installation in Fergus Gallery. So the Andy Warhol soup can is actually a physical thing. She says what?
Still?
Maybe something happened to it, and Brittany can tell us. Stephanie, thanks for entering. We're not going to dwell on it. We're going to move on to the next segment or show because we're coming close to the end. And this is another story from Charlie. A new bill could finally make it legal for unmarried people to have sex in Virginia. Vicky, have you heard about this new law?
No.
Oh.
What is the new law in the Virginia?
VK, are you still there?
He's still there, yeah. So for unmarried people, there's basically in Virginia, in America at the moment, it's illegal to have sex if you're not married.
So it's actually not anymore.
But anymore, it's not. So this is a new bill.
Is it right? When did this bill pass?
This passed on the 10th of February 2020. Well,
It passed last month. It was introduced.
Yeah.
There we go.
How is it possible here?
It passed
Is it
fairly.
real? Is it?
So basically, in Virginia, in 2020, there was a loophole in the law that if you were unmarried, it was illegal to have sex if you weren't married. It was a loophole from an old law about the crime of fornication. So fornication is having sex.
So there will be a $250 fine if you were caught having sex if you were not married.
Yeah.
But that's gone now.
$50.
$250. The price of a good escort or prostitute, I would imagine.
So it's going to be $500 then.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to check it up. They're not even available anymore. You don't need to
He's
buy
working
them.
it into rupees.
It's legal.
How many rupees is that?
1,000. A lot of 1,000 rupees.
No, millions, I'd say.
Yeah.
Are you doing the calculation there, Vicky? How many rupees?
So $2,500. Sorry, $250.
Yeah, let's just do it here.
We can do it here on. Do you have Google?
Yeah. I
There
have
it is in rupees.
$250. Multiply it.
Okay, so it's 18,750 rupees.
Yeah, 20,000.
Yeah, so about 20,000.
Would you pay that?
It is for one night. One night is 10.
It doesn't have to be one night. You could be with person all week, but you've had sex with someone you're not married to. It's against the law. You can't be put in jail for it, but you'd be fined in the state of Virginia in America.
He's working out his
VK. VK, you're a married man.
You're a married man.
So you're not going to fornicate, I presume.
He's probably working
right.
out. I have to pay them.
Listen, we're all men, VK here.
It's okay.
We've all
No,
fornicated.
why will I pay that much of money if I get it for 5,000 rupees?
Exactly. Do you have to pay? Yeah, exactly. You don't have to pay 5,000 rupees.
For 5,000 rupees. That's fantastic.
But this is the point. So basically, in February, before the coronavirus lockdown, in Virginia, there was a loophole in the law that the crime of fornication was still technically a crime. It was a class 4 misdemeanor. Goldie, I don't know. Do you understand class 4, class 1?
No,
it's very it's like taking a red light.
Tell me one thing. But how will you come to know that a person have sex without a marriage? Who will complain this?
Oh, VK, that is a brilliant point because that leads me on to my next point. That is brilliant, VK.
Well done, VK.
Brilliant. So this crazy law, which now doesn't exist anymore. So you can have sex if you're unmarried in Virginia. I'd like to just give a quick warning though to Idaho and North Carolina.
Okay.
It's still illegal if you're not married to have sex in Idaho, America, and North Carolina, America. It's still on the books.
Okay.
So you guys can't have sex. But what VK said is so true. How would you check this? So I started looking up other crazy laws around the world. And one of the laws that struck me as really crazy. You keep talking there, Goldie. I'll find it. It's based on what VK said.
I just wanted to comment, VK and Brittany and Stephanie and Romo Clan and everyone else that's listening, that it's amazing the amount of research that Charlie's put into this week's episode, because he has gone down some rabbit holes and provided us with some amazing facts.
That's the first time you've ever said that, Goldie. That.
I know that means something. I'm actually.
It actually does mean something, because you spend your whole 22, 23 years of criticizing me. That means a lot.
There you go, live on air.
So Nebraska.
So this law is
VK.
for this law.
Go on.
Yeah.
No, go on, VK.
Jesus Christ, when do you talk?
No, so this law is for men or for women? Who will complain?
No. Oh, that's actually a brilliant point. That's another thing.
Or a man will complain.
Will you hold that thought just for a second, VK? So your first point, VK, was how would anyone actually know if two people were unmarried? So I started looking up other laws, and there's a law in Nebraska. And this is a genuine law that's still on the statute books. Brittany, you can check me out. You live in this country. And Brittany, we'd love to know what state you're in.
Absolutely.
So in Nebraska, no person who is afflicted with an STI is allowed to marry by law.
So if you have a sexually transmitted infection or disease, you're not allowed to get married.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if we think of what you said, VK, there, how would anyone know? Like, how would you know if somebody has a sexually transmitted disease? The only way you'd know is if they told you.
So what you're saying is, in this particular state, before you get married, the prospective partner can demand that you're medically examined.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
Is this where you're going with it?
No, it's literally 3 lines.
So
it makes no sense. I've a lot of follow-ups for other stuff, but it's just on what VK said there. So is that there's no way of proving, like, let's say even if you and I were about to get married and I told you, well, I had syphilis 3 years ago. I don't know. Can you cure syphilis? Gonorrhea. You can cure gonorrhea. So I had gonorrhea 3 years ago. I tell you, unless you go to the authorities, and why would you? Because you're shooting yourself in the foot. So there's no way the authorities will really be able to check it. It must be an antiquated law.
Well, what I'd imagine is happening here, I don't know if it's happening, I'll be honest with you, but if I wanted to implement this and ensure it was
like as a senator or whatever,
enforced as a senator or whatever it is, yeah. What I would do is I would make it mandatory that, at the moment you have to go get a wedding license, you have to get a marriage license, and as part of that process, you would have to be medically examined to see if you're a virgin or not. Because if you're not a virgin, well then clearly you've had sex before you were married. So for the women,
that would suggest you're not a virgin.
Yeah. So for women, you could very, very easily tell. For men, there is a bit of a difficulty there, isn't there?
But in Nebraska, it's saying you can't get married if you're not a virgin.
But how do they check the men?
They're only saying you can't get married if you have an STI. It's not if you're a virgin.
Oh, I know. But in order to prove that, I'm sure what's happening there is that you have to have a test.
I presume they don't try to prove it. I presume it's one. There's a lot of arcane laws. There's even one in Ireland.
And that's what I said from the top. I said, I don't know if it's enforced or not, but if you wanted to enforce it, you would have to demand a test.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be the only way.
So you can easily establish if you've had an STI before, and if you have, well, then you've clearly broken another law by actually having sex before you're married. That's what I'm getting at. But
that's not against the law in Nebraska. That's against the law in Idaho and North Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you would.
But can I also say something else? I could have had an STI 10 years ago. Presumably, it wouldn't show up if you tested me now.
You may have an antibody or something.
So it will always show that I once had it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. Exactly. I didn't realize that. Okay.
So just be careful, folks.
Yeah. Look, I think what we're saying is you shouldn't get married unless you're a virgin. Is that what if we had to sum up the theme of the show, one line? Don't
get married unless you're a virgin.
Yeah.
Well, if you're certainly living in these states, yes, absolutely. Okay. Be very careful. Unless you're willing to pay the price. Like the price is only $250. So, if you want to make
that's a different thing.
No, I think it's just
you can't get married in that. It doesn't matter what money you have. You're talking about having sex with unmarried people. That's in Virginia.
No, it's not got to do with getting married. It's not.
We're talking about Nebraska. It's illegal to get married. Remember, we moved on to the other one.
Yeah, so we're in Nebraska now. Well, then, presumably you'd have to go to a different state.
Look, would you pay 200 if you were with your girlfriend?
Well, let's put it this way. VK, Brittany, Ron McClan, Stephanie, whoever's with us, listening to us.
Charlie.
If I'm a person, right, male or female, and I grow up and I'm in, I grow up in the 90s, noughties, whatever it is. You're going to want to be a little bit promiscuous. So you're probably going to promiscuous. Promiscuous?
I don't.
Promiscuous.
Well, first of all, not everyone is promiscuous. I'd imagine. You're promiscuous, is what you're saying. You grew up.
What I'm saying is, if you want to be promiscuous, you have to. First of all, at that age, you probably won't care about any fines, and then the whole thing about, are you mentally culpable? To understand that you shouldn't do it. Like, who's going to pay the fine? Your parents. So you probably have done it beforehand. But secondly,
what you're saying there raises an interest question.
But if you get a bit older, you might say, well, do you know what? I want to have sex, and it's going, if I'm caught, which is very unlikely, I might have to pay €250. So be it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, that might be a lot to, like your circumstances. What you're saying is it's not. It'll be worth it.
I think.
And in my circumstance, it's worth it. But you'd imagine if, like, VK, I don't know, is $250 in rupees. What did we say?
Nearly 20,000 rupees.
20,000, like that could be a lot in India. Who knows? Like, yeah, I could live with the fine of $250, which we know you're not going to get fined anyway.
No, would you take the risk, VK?
He's married.
No, I will not. Listen, if you have a girlfriend, why your girlfriend will complain? I don't understand.
VK, have you ever been tempted to cheat on your wife, like to sleep with someone who isn't your wife?
No, not at all.
Not even tempted?
No.
Well, wow.
No. Well, listen, you wouldn't expect somebody to admit that live on air anyway. He's already said he spends 5,000 rupees. And Romo Clan says you would think twice about fucking off on holiday with COVID payment. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Priorities.
2 years ago. Yeah. 2 hours ago.
Yeah, absolutely would.
So other interesting laws. Actually, we were talking about VK. You just admitted to adultery there. In Michigan, adultery is actually still a crime.
Really?
Yeah, like crazy. But anyway, my favorite is Idaho. And now, like, I don't want to get you bogged down in this, but I think we're going to go down a rabbit hole here.
Okay.
In Idaho, it is now, since March, illegal to eat human flesh. In other words, cannibalism. So in Idaho, you can no longer be a cannibal since March of 2020.
But presumably...
You go to prison for 14 years.
Yeah, but presumably before that, it's just a law that they didn't get rid of, by, coincidentally. But in order to be a cannibal... You can...
No, as in there is no law saying you can't do it. And now there is in Idaho.
Yeah,
sorry, VK. VK.
Yes.
No need to be.
Who eat human fleshes?
So no, I was just saying. To eat human flesh is obviously the what we would call the crime of cannibalism. So I guess VK in India, I don't know, is cannibalism illegal? It's against the law.
Nobody can even think of it. Nobody can think of it to eat human fleshes.
No.
I
fully expected that answer.
So I would have expected it was illegal in America and the Western world too.
Yes.
But this is the shocking thing. Goldie, how many states are there in America?
50.
50. It's only illegal to eat human flesh in one state out of the 50 states of America. So, Brittany, I don't know what state you live in.
She lives in Nevada.
Okay, so you're sorted because it's only illegal in Idaho. So what got me interested in this was
Brittany,
I looked up.
You've been a great.
Yeah, Brittany, seriously, call in. So basically, in Idaho, they only made it illegal 3 months ago to eat human flesh. So it got me thinking: are you actually saying that in the other 49 states in America you can eat human flesh? And I was thinking, there's no way you could be. They've made it difficult for you, and I'm going to ask you, Goldie, how have they made it difficult? But it's not actually. I go to say right now, it's not illegal. So how do you think they've made it difficult?
Basically, first of all, I don't think it's a case that it's legal to eat human flesh. It's just not illegal, and in that sense, it's because they just haven't got around to changing that law because it's quite an obvious thing.
Okay, but so tell me how have they made it difficult.
Maybe another time, Brittany. So they've made it difficult by the mere fact that it's kind of reminds me of the Merchant of Venice in some way. You can't get your pound of flesh without taking some blood, and the blood was not in the contract. So in order for you to eat human flesh, somebody pretty much has to die.
Very good. Yeah.
Now, I suppose...
So you can't murder someone?
You can't murder somebody.
So every state is... You can't murder
at the same time, you cannot cause somebody harm either. But I suppose there's a bit of a loophole there whereby somebody, and there probably are some freak shows out there who would be happy to donate their flesh almost.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to come.
Yeah.
People would donate their flesh, so therefore there's no crime being committed because there's consent. Now, there is probably ways around that too, because you're talking about...
Brittany said you could eat someone without killing them easily.
Exactly.
You know what, Brittany, you should be doing this. Like, I'm getting a lot of money for doing this show, and I wouldn't have thought of that. And I only realized that after doing the research. But yes, first of all, Goldie's right. I'm not saying there's ways around it, but in the other 49 states in America, it's not against the law to engage in cannibalism, but it's very difficult. You can't kill someone. There's also another law about desecrating a corpse.
Yeah.
So you can't desecrate a corpse. But what Brittany said is, I didn't see this because it's so obvious. When we think of cannibalism, you think of eating someone who's dead.
Yes. Instantly that comes to mind. Indiana
Whereas
Jones or something.
Yeah, or I was thinking, So actually, cannibalism is just eating human flesh. So in other words, what if I, for example, tonight decided to give you my pointy finger, my index finger?
Yeah, it would be perfectly legitimate.
Absolutely
because
legal.
You've given consent.
So there is a guy.
But can I just say that doesn't have to be the case?
Go on.
Because particularly in our country, for example, you don't have to give, what I'm trying to say here is even if you gave permission, that would be a crime. Now, I'm not saying it is in our country.
If you killed me, or
no, if you gave your consent
to what? Eat what?
To chop off your finger and eat it.
It would be a crime in Ireland.
It probably wouldn't be, right?
All right.
But what I'm saying is...
It's going to be a great night, folks.
What I'm saying is, for example...
Tune
in Irish law, you generally need somebody's consent, okay? But do you realize that you could be imprisoned for damaging your own property? So, for example...
Which is you.
Which is your own. Yeah. Well, no, not you. But if you, for example, have a car and you get angry and you smash the window on your own car, you could probably... You would think automatically that your defense is, it's my fucking car, I can do what I want with it. But you actually can't. It's illegal to damage your own property, yeah.
Like if I had a book and I decide to recycle, like throw it in the bin, or I decide to set it on fire,
technically it's an offense. Yeah.
Jesus.
So you need to be careful with that one. But again, it's all down to circumstances.
But I presume nobody is ever actually charged with that crime.
Not
in inverted. Okay.
No. Well, I wouldn't imagine so.
You raised a really good point, but at the end of the day, we're talking about a human body part, which is a lot more serious.
This is the laws they need to bring in, that even if you do have consent, you're not allowed to eat the person.
Okay.
So that's
well, we all know the story of the German guy.
And mental health, if they're allowing something like that to happen, surely.
Yeah. Like, do you remember the German guy about 10 years ago, or it's probably even more than 10 years ago? He went online and said, like, I want someone to eat me. You must remember that case.
It rings a little bit of a bell, but there's so many people that come on wanting things to be done.
I know, but this was one of the first. It's probably even actually older than 10 years now that I say it, but let's say at most it's 15 years. Brittany, you're a researcher. So there was some German guy went online, put online basically, I want someone to eat me. And he found someone, and he invited the person to his apartment, and there was some kind of injection that he was going to take, and so on. But he freaked out at the very last minute. He didn't want to go through with it. I don't know. Was it a sexual? I don't know why I'm even saying sexual thrill, but whatever it was, he balked at the last moment.
As you'd expect.
But the guy who was invited to the apartment went ahead with it and ate him. And the guy was charged with murder, which struck me as a bit harsh. I could be going back 15 years, but definitely was a German case. I don't know, but so in that case, that's the case we've all heard of. But to go back to what we're talking about now, so in Idaho, you can't eat human flesh anymore.
Okay.
The other 49 states,
you can.
You can. So we're thinking, like what you said, Goldie, if you're dead, desecration of corpse and so on. Yeah, so what if I am alive? So I found a Reddit user. I'm going to call out. Can I call out his name, Goldie?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. if this has been confirmed as fact, you can't.
Yeah. It's actually like I just checked it on Reddit. So the user's name is incredibly shiny shart, SHART. So this Reddit user last year, so 2019, they were in a motorcycle accident, and they had their foot amputated.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. So it's tragic.
I can see where you're going with this now. Yeah.
So this Reddit user invited their friends over. So I have to go back a little bit. So one of the things that I wondered about was, if I got a part of my body amputated, could I just say to the doctor, I'll take this and I want to eat it? You can't actually do that in Ireland and in most states in America, because there's something about hospital waste. Hospital waste has to be managed, so on. But whatever, I don't know what state incredibly shiny shart is from, but whatever state they're from, this rule doesn't apply. So they were able to take their amputated foot. So the doctor gave them...
were people actually... this is only because they're in the accident, or were people purposely amputating themselves so they could eat it?
No, he was in an accident.
Okay. I'm sure there's examples of the other as well.
I'd say so. That's fucked up, though.
Yeah.
Well, this is fucked up as well. So he had his foot amputated after a motorbike accident, and he got his foot. He asked the doctor for his foot, and whatever state he was in, I don't know what state he was in, but the doctor gave it to him. And he invited his friends over for dinner.
Wow.
And tacos were made from his foot meat. I'm quoting there from his own Reddit account, foot meat.
And everyone probably loved it.
They quote, it tasted very meaty. But this got me thinking, do you remember Jamie Oliver used to have a cookery show?
You never believed that.
I never believed this. Yeah, his friends arrived
at the end of the show.
At the very time he had the food ready. That was fucked up. At least this guy actually invited his...
Thank you very much, Brittany. I can't believe we actually have a researcher.
I thought Brittany said she was in work. I don't understand why she doesn't ring in then.
She's obviously at the computer.
Well, I'll give you this, Brittany. At least you're going to believe that we do our work on this show.
Yeah, we're not just making
we're not making this shit up. But Brittany, you should ring in. Like, in fairness, you've done a lot of work here checking this stuff up.
No pressure.
I actually tried to find this guy and I couldn't earlier. But I remembered him from when I was young. Fuck, that's 20 years ago. 17 years ago.
It's amazing, really, isn't it?
Like, that doesn't seem that long ago. The internet was only kind of new back then. And imagine putting up on the internet, like, I want you to eat me, or whatever they put in German.
Yeah, no, you can easily see this kind of stuff happen. Vicky, would you ever see ads like that where you're from?
In Nevada.
If I speak, they will hear me. Googling is silent. Exactly.
VK is talking. What did you say, VK? Come on.
VK, have you ever seen advertisements for funny things where people want to be eaten?
It's not that funny.
I'm listening this first time from your mouth.
VK, can I ask you, what's the most unusual animal or body part that you've eaten?
Actually, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat.
You're a vegetarian.
Oh, did he say he doesn't eat meat?
Yeah, he's a vegetarian. That's
okay. Apologies, VK. Sorry.
Apologies, VK. No, but it's a good point, and Brittany says she's in work, and if she talks, he'll hear her, but she can Google for us, and we appreciate it. Brittany,
brilliant stuff.
Brittany, okay, Stephanie, so VK, if you like, just we can have a little interlude there. Sorry, we're on the subject. We appreciate you tuning into us. We really do. We're on episode 42. We'd love a share, a like. If you head over to our Facebook page, look for Midnight in Baghdad. Look for me, Goldie Metcalf. If you head over to Twitch, check for...
Yeah, don't look for Charlie.
You don't have a Facebook
no,
profile.
I don't actually. Yeah.
So Charlie will...
So don't look for me because it would take a lot of time.
You can head over to Twitch as well, Midnight in Baghdad over in Twitch, and you can actually get to see us, what we look like, with a little bit of a disguise, I must admit. And you'll see all...
And Brittany, we'd love to see what you look like.
It's
in Nebraska.
It's in Nevada.
Nevada.
Is it near Las Vegas?
I always think of Nevada as nuclear testing sites.
You would.
All the
desert would have been used. But
Brittany, please do contact us. Yeah, this is fascinating. And we're reaching out to people.
So cannibalism, it's something that's crazy. So this person is basically cutting their legs off. Yeah.
Yeah. But wasn't the person who ate him was arrested and so on for essentially... Like, I don't know, was it first degree murder or whatever they have in Germany. But anyway, come back to the original point. It got me thinking, well, first of all, I'm going to be like, this is so old fashioned now. But do you remember 20 years ago, the scare was if you went abroad You went on a night out. You'd wake up in a bath with ice cubes. Do you remember that?
The organs.
Yeah, the organs.
Yeah.
Your organs will be taken. Now, I'm not saying anyone was eating them. They were probably being taken for, But
there was lots of
donations.
movies at the time, and like the hostel movies and stuff like
exactly.
that. But you, Charlie, would tend to worry about stupid stuff like that. Is that why you don't go abroad very often? You think.
No, I don't go abroad because I don't have a passport. But yeah, so it got me thinking about stuff like this, and then it got me thinking about the big question. Okay, we're not talking about murder. Okay, can I? So like that Reddit user, incredibly shiny shark. Can I sell any part of my? So in other words, can I eat human flesh? The answer is yes, I can, as long as I don't kill them. And as long as they're not dead. In other words, there's nothing stopping you cutting off your arm of your own free consent right now. In America, I should have checked it in Ireland. But in America, in most states, 49 out of the 50 states, you can cut off your arm right now and I can eat it right in front of a policeman or woman. And there's nothing they can do. And that kind of shocked me.
Is there not other laws to circumnavigate that in a way?
There's not. Trust me on this.
Okay. Stop banging.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking about something else. Can I tell you something else? And I want to ask you a question.
So many rabbit holes tonight. We're near the end of our show. But come on.
I'm going to ask you this one. So it got me thinking about what body parts can you actually sell? And I had to look this up. And I was shocked. There's a lot.
Fingers.
So I'm going to ask you, right? So to the best of my knowledge, and I've checked 3 websites on this, there's 9 body parts you can sell. Most body parts you can't. For example, your kidneys, your liver. Yeah. Because, okay, there's 9 body parts you're allowed to sell that are popular to sell. So I remember asking this of someone today. You can sell your eyelashes, you can sell your feet, but no one's going to want them, right? So I'm talking about stuff that would have a market value. There's 9. If you get 4, it's really impressive. I didn't get 4.
Your ear?
No. You probably could sell your ear, is what I'm saying, but who would want to buy it? There's no market for it.
Okay, your penis?
No.
Your breasts?
No.
So you're talking about organs rather than body parts?
Body parts. You got to let yourself go in the definition of body parts. I mean, any part of your body.
A lung?
You definitely can't sell a lung.
Not even one of them?
No, because it's open to exploitation. Like
you haven't got a complete... Your eyes?
No.
Like, you haven't got a fucking loss. And what else?
I'm surprised, Gold. No, just take a step back and think about it. What's the most obvious thing you could sell?
Your penis. I said that already.
No, you can't sell
hair.
Your penis. Okay, there's one. Your hair. You can sell your hair. Part? Yeah, you can sell your hair. And people do all the time. Yeah, but no one's going to want to buy them. Like, I'm sure you can sell your fingernails, but it's not one of the 9.
Okay, your hair.
So your hair is one because there's a market for it.
Okay, your sexual fluids.
Exactly. So we've now sperm and eggs. So eggs gets a lot more than sperm, which surprised me. Okay. So you've now 3 out of 9.
We have 3.
So you can sell your hair, you can sell your sperm, you can sell your eggs.
Folks, Brittany, whoever wants your skin.
Brittany, brilliant. Can you define your skin, though? I misunderstood this. You can sell your skin, but not as in someone taking your skin. So Brittany, before I say what the answer is, you want to tell us. You can sell your skin, and there's a huge market for it. And I also think in the next year, it's going to be the big... Good try. No.
The top layer for graph, she says.
No. This is going to be the big thing, I think, in the next year. It's coming up. Let me give you a clue. It's for celebrities, especially athletes, in demand.
Muscle.
No. Brittany's right with skin. You can sell it. Do I wait?
No.
Okay. This is the next big thing, Goldie. And you've heard it here first in Midnight in Baghdad. It's selling does not mean the person taking. So the next big thing is there's a website. It's a gambling website, and they're trying to basically use people's skin for advertising.
Okay.
So it's in. Sorry, Goldie, you talk there for a second.
So are you saying, for example, like the Tiger Woods could sell his skin?
Exactly.
And to put a message on it or something?
Yes. Now, Tiger Woods, as a golfer, is clothed.
Yes.
Who's normally not clothed?
Wrestlers.
You're on the right track. Boxers. So it's in boxing that it's begun. And the main leader of this, I'm going to give them free advertisement. They're called goldenpalace.com. They're in Nevada.
We know Golden Palace.
Is Brittany in Nevada?
She's from Nevada.
Okay, so goldenpalace.com have been leading the way in this. So at the moment, selling your skin has become a big thing for advertising in that boxers and I suppose other sports in which your skin is exposed. If you would wear a henna tattoo, So in other words, Golden Palace has been contacting boxers to try to get the Golden Palace logo on the person's skin in a henna tattoo. They've done it with a few people. Tanya Harding is the only one I'd ever heard of.
Okay. So what you're saying is they're selling space on their skin.
Yes, they're not giving away their skin, but they're selling their skin.
Off, which is what you kind of led us to believe. To be fair,
no,
VK,
that's.
Would you have thought the same? I don't know if we still have VK.
They're still selling their skin.
Yeah,
in the way I might sell my intelligence if I give a grind.
No, exactly. But
I fell for this though.
You kind of let us fall for it too.
Yeah, but come on for the drama.
I appreciate it. It's cool.
You got 3. You got 3 right.
So what are the?
No, you got skin anyway. But just to stay with skin for the moment, I do think a year from now we'll be discussing this because this is going to grow.
There will be definitely advertising on
so
skin,
and also just before we leave that, there was the Nevada Athletics Commission banned this.
Yeah,
they tried to stop it for obvious reasons.
It's sensible.
But Golden Palace challenged it, and a judge overturned it. So it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can sell your skin. So that's 4. So you said sperm, eggs,
so what
hair,
you can imagine happens
skin.
In an example like that is that you will have fights commissioned in states, particularly that do allow it, and in states that don't allow it. And where they don't allow it, you're going to see covering ups and stuff like that happening.
Maybe,
where they might have a bandage over it, or there might be something to cover it up, which will probably be a bandage with the logo on it anyway.
So they're just getting around it.
Yeah, which is
would I be wrong? Are you into boxing? I don't.
Am I into it? Do I follow it now? Absolutely not.
Okay.
There was certainly a time where I would have had a keen interest in kind of the big fights. Now, not so much.
Okay, so I could be wrong. I have this image of boxing as the pay-per-view kind of thing.
It is, yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well, then it makes sense for these kind of people because if I have an ad on RT or Sky, it's there for 15 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if I have it on someone's skin, most boxing matches are there for 3 rounds at least. So that's 9 minutes, and most are more than 9 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good advertising.
Absolutely, it definitely is.
So you can sell that anyway. So,
okay.
Do you want to move on?
We're going to move on to.
Okay. Do you know what other stuff you can sell? Sorry, do you want to move on?
Yes, tell us what else you can sell.
No, do you want to guess?
No, we want it. No, I've
come on. I'd say you guess other one. There's one obvious one you're missing. You can't sell it in Ireland, but because we discussed it in France and the bread.
Your urine and your feces.
You see, I would have thought, but there's no market for it. Okay, well, I just give it plasma, like blood.
Okay.
In America, you can sell that obviously. Bone marrow. This sounds horrific.
Makes
you
sense.
Get a lot more money than blood for that.
Yeah,
it's apparently really sore. So we're on 6. You can sell your placenta, which kind of shocked me because did you and your partner?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, well I did. You can sell breast milk.
Did you really do
I did, yeah. Breast milk you can sell.
Hold on a second. This is a revelation. Are you telling me that you ate your children's placenta?
Yes. As most people do, Goldie. You'll probably find this out. Yeah, I did.
That's amazing.
Okay.
We need to talk about that off air.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. Do you know the minute Goldie finds something interesting about me, I shut down. I'm not going to reveal anything about it.
It's very common, Brittany. It is.
So Brittany is saying, placenta. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Goldie.
I know it's a thing.
A lot of people eat the breast.
There's no need to do it.
Like the mothers, Brittany, would I be right? Most mothers, not most, but a lot of mothers eat it. But I wanted to be part of it, so I ate it as well. We did it in an omelette. Like I didn't eat the placenta raw. I didn't taste any placenta at all.
I have to say, it's awful.
It was weird. Yeah, but it goes back to what we were saying. Would you eat urine bread? Would you eat breast milk bread?
It's like an African ritual or something that you'd imagine.
I don't know. VK, do you want to come in on that? Actually, tablets, Brittany, you're right.
So
that's
how
the placenta is turned into tablets in most states, and that's how it's legal. Yeah. Thank you, Brittany.
I probably
he is so old-fashioned.
Brittany, but
Brittany, do you want to set up a show like we could do it remotely?
I don't, Brittany. I don't see the point in it. Like I get that for the mother eating it. It's no, I get for the mother eating it that it's definitely nutritious because obviously if the mother's going to breastfeed or whatever, there's going to be nutrients and stuff like that. I get the biological nature reason for it. Certainly no reason for a father to eat it.
I think it's more symbolic. I think it's a symbolic thing, a spiritual thing.
And I think it's ridiculous that you did that, to be honest.
Did you not want to hold your kids when they were born? No.
But if it was tablets, like if it's tablets, great for the mother. Definitely great for the mother. I don't see the point in the father having it.
There's a lot of things that don't have a point per se.
What about you, VK? You're from the Indian side of the world. is it the eastern side? I suppose the
Middle East. I would have called it. I don't know.
It's further than the Middle East. It depends on what way you're going, I guess. It's very good for the partner to help with
Brilliant,
tiredness,
Brittany.
energy.
I literally raised my kids
I can see
single-handedly,
that, yeah,
so I
would
needed
be
it.
something for the father. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I have a feeling the Brittany and Charlie show, like, we'll come up with a name, Brittany. Okay,
breast milk helps
that
with
name is
skin
too
conditions.
long. Breast milk helps with skin conditions. The same. Come up with a shorter name, and I'm in.
Yeah,
VK.
Interesting. VK, have you?
What's the craziest
do you
thing
have
you've
children,
eaten?
VK?
What is the craziest thing?
Yeah, no. First of all, do you have children?
Yes, I have.
You do have children. So, did you eat their placenta, or did the mother eat the placenta?
No, never.
VK, are you with me?
Yeah, tell me. Come again, please.
Yeah. Did you or the mother of your children eat the placenta? So the bit that comes out when the baby is born, the baby comes out, and then after that, there is another
The discharge.
a discharge, a tissue that comes out that some people would eat because it's very nutritious for the baby. Did you do that?
No, not at all.
No. I
Did your wife?
Your wife didn't either, no. But by the same things, his wife didn't.
No.
Yeah.
I am listening it the first time from yours. I haven't listened this before.
VK, some people actually do eat the placenta as a kind of a ritual.
Yeah, it's a part of a ritual, but it goes back to nature. You know, it's there for the mother, and I guess Brittany's right in a way. The father too, because the father obviously has to assist in the first kind of couple.
No,
of
I
weeks.
think it was more symbolic for me. I wanted to eat it symbolically.
For you, symbolic, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think traditionally, there is a reason for it. Sorry, VK, I cut you off.
No, is it in your country? Is it in Ireland or where? Is it in America?
Yes. In Ireland, in the West, in the Western society,
it seems to be more common in America. I would imagine. I don't think everyone. Most people don't do it in Ireland.
It's not a normal practice in Ireland.
No, but it's not abnormal. Like I did it. Yeah.
No, it definitely does happen.
Yeah, but it's not common.
No, I think you have to apply for it or something like that.
What is the advantage? What is the advantage of this? What is it?
There's vitamins, nutrients. So when the mother eats the placenta, she can produce healthy breast milk for the baby. So it's like it's like human
feces.
No, it's like it's like the animal kingdom where you might see a female deer, for example, gives birth, and the deer will actually lick the discharge that comes out along with the deer or whatever it is, because that's actually nutritious and it will help them get through the next couple of days or whatever. Brittany tells us, a brilliant researcher, energy, oxygen,
iron,
vitamins, and it fights against postnatal depression. So if your deer or your animals have PND, it would obviously help against that, and obviously humans as well.
Yeah.
So there is definitely medical benefits for
Although VK, I'd be honest and say
it's disgusting, really.
Well, it's not very. Yeah, you don't want to think about it, but I think VK. The reason I did it was more for a symbolic reason, like it as in it was a message to myself, or it's just you're doing it for. Do you know what I mean by a symbolic reason? Like,
I'm sure he does. He's from India.
Yeah. So it wasn't for like the reasons Brittany is saying, although what Brittany's saying probably makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It's a fact.
It's a fact, I presume. Yeah.
I understand that you do it spiritually.
We weren't stuck for cash.
We're way over time. We're going to move on to the penultimate.
How many did you get out of the things you can sell? You said breast milk. You didn't say breast milk. You said sperm, egg.
Here still.
All right, go on. Yeah, no, you're done. We're done. Go on. Yeah.
The penultimate part of our show is the agony aunt section. So this is where somebody who has written into us during the week asks Goldie for advice. So we're going to move on to the next segment of the show.
This is
I'm an agony aunt. So tell me, Charlie, what did somebody write into?
It's a horrible story, Goldie, and I don't know how you can solve this. They're looking for your help. I'll read the whole letter out verbatim.
Okay.
Verbatim, VK means it's not me. It's someone wrote this into the show. And this is horrible. And I feel so like I'm not going to even get involved. I'm just going to read it out.
Okay.
Dear Goldie, I have been living with my partner for 4 years, and we were engaged. Sorry, I had been living with my partner for 4 years, and we were engaged to be married when he told me that he was bisexual, and he had cheated on me twice in the last 4 years with 2 men. He begged forgiveness, swore it wouldn't happen again. After weeks of discussion and soul searching, I decided to forgive him for being bisexual, and we went ahead with the marriage. We've been married for 2 years now, and everything has been wonderful. Last week, however, he confessed to me that he had made the whole thing up. He wasn't bisexual.
Wow.
And he hadn't cheated.
Spit it out.
Sorry, this is so emotional. I think this is very sad. When I asked him why, he said he wanted to check the strength of our relationship and the trust in our relationship before he agreed to marry me. But now I feel I don't really know the man I live with. Please help.
Is this a gay couple?
No, it's a woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
her husband is bisexual.
This is a tough one because, first of all, my initial reaction was to say she decided to forgive him for being bisexual. I don't think that's something you can forgive. Do you know what I mean? You are what you are. So I don't think forgiveness is required there. The forgiveness is required for...
VK might disagree.
VK might, but... VK,
do you want to weigh in?
What you need to be apologising for there is the fact that you withheld that information.
I didn't
No, but the person withheld this.
I think VK wants to say something.
Do you want to comment on that, VK?
Should someone apologise for being bisexual in a relationship? Because then I have a lot of explaining to do.
VK is not with us for a minute.
I think he is. He just... VK?
Yeah, he's still with us there, but... Can you hear me, VK?
You on the tram?
Hi. Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, so should somebody have to apologize to their partner for being bisexual?
I think you should not let your partner know. You should not confess, and you should not tell your partner that you are bisexual.
Hide it. Keep it a secret.
Yes, you should keep it secret.
Wow. You should keep it secret. I suppose in one respect, VK,
it's like you've been living my life.
No, but VK, I can actually see where you're coming from now. Initially, I was shocked by it, but I suppose, first of all...
It sounds sort of really quickly now.
No, but...
you just said it like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know, but just the way VK said it there kind of made me think, you're obviously living a lie. But you're perfectly happy to do that. And if your partner is also happy without knowing and you're happy to continue on, then why should you tell them? And then you might think I'm crazy for saying that, but if you're having an affair, for example, you're not going to tell them. So, is having an affair worse than being bisexual and not telling them? I don't think it's any worse. I think they kind of fall into the same category.
Are we not conflating two separate things, though? Like, do you want to discuss one first? So let's say you're bisexual. Let's just take that.
In an ideal world, you should be upfront from the very start before you marry somebody.
Okay.
Let them know you're bisexual.
So let's say you weren't, and you told. Let's say you
want to.
Go on, VK.
If you want to live happily,
I do,
not
VK.
disclose your secrets.
Yeah, you should.
But I've been. Are you talking to me person? No, you're talking to the show. Okay. Yes, you shouldn't reveal it. But let's say somebody did in a marriage, and let's say not like this agony aunt letter, but let's say someone said I'm bisexual, but I haven't been with anyone else. That's the difference. You can imagine
it's coming as a hammer blow, but
they should have said it before they got married.
You would think so, yeah. But like you're obviously saying it because you might have some desire of a sudden. So I think definitely if you can be as honest and open as possible before you get married, great. But I agree with VK. if you're within your marriage and you've already made that silly decision not to come clean, then you should never come clean.
So you're saying, Goldie, you should come clean about everything?
In an ideal world, yeah, if you can.
Well, yeah, in an ideal world.
It may not.
In the real world we're living in now.
I recognize that it may not always be possible, but I think if you have the opportunity to do so, you should definitely do it. But if you
what
don't,
secrets
and
would
you
you
get married,
keep in if you were to get married to a fictional partner? Not even if you have a real partner now or not, I don't know. But if you had a partner, what secrets do you think are important to keep?
Well,
before you get married,
keep a lot of your sexual history secret, wouldn't you? You wouldn't come out and say, "Oh, I did this, that, and the other,"
even if it was in the past.
Yeah, it's like they might have an idea that you had relationships in the past, but you don't necessarily have to go into the full detail of what you did and who you did it with and where it was and how you did it and whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I totally disagree with that. I think like you get that all off your chest now, and because it's in the past, like why should you have to answer to that? Why should you have to apologize for it?
You shouldn't have to.
No.
But you're saying you'd bring it up anyway. You shouldn't really.
No, I wouldn't bring it up. As in, I don't think it's something you discuss. I don't think it's something you like need to sit down and say, "I've done this."
Okay, so we agree with each other.
I think it comes up.
We agree with each other then.
I presume you don't know how many people you've slept with.
Personally.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, but I presume a lot of people don't. So you don't sit down and say, "Well, I did this, I did this, I did this," and chronologically do it. Things come out before you get married. You've been with someone a long time, so things come out naturally. I don't think anyone would apologize on. Are we talking about bisexual here?
We're talking generally for
starters. Generally. Okay, so let's say you're heterosexual. I don't think you're going to apologize for anything you've done prior to meeting the person.
No, you don't have to. You certainly don't have to apologize for it. No, nobody's saying you should apologize.
So moving on to the bisexual thing.
Talk about it.
So let's say if you're 30 and you meet a lovely woman.
Yeah.
And you happen to have had, kind of homosexual encounters prior to 30.
Yeah.
So that's where it becomes dodgy. Do you bring that up? Or
you don't know. It doesn't become dodgy.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk about it. I think you should definitely disclose if you're bisexual, because it is a difference. There is a difference, whether you like it or not in today's society. There is a difference, and maybe there's a call for not just bisexual people to come out and say it, but for maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe everyone should discuss their sexual history, or certainly their sexual health rather than their history. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that needs to happen.
Like the people you've been with.
No, but do you have any transmitted diseases, sexual diseases? Stuff like that.
But nobody's going to do that, are they?
Probably not, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's
it's still viewed as embarrassing, isn't it? It's still viewed as
well, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe it needs to be that. Maybe it needs to get to there.
Do you want to talk about your experience here? Had you had sexual partners prior to your wife, and if so, did you tell her about them, or did you keep it a secret, or I don't know what you want to say on her?
No, in our tradition, in Indian tradition, it is not allowed.
Yes, in the tradition, I totally understand that, and I've studied that. But I also understand a lot of my Indian friends unofficially do kind of experiment before they get married, shall we say, VK. So officially, do you want to? Most of my friends are Indian. Yeah.
No, I know many of my friends also. They are everybody has its own choice.
Of course.
But as per if you ask me for myself, then I'm not that kind of guy. I didn't have any relationship before.
Okay,
and that's admirable.
Can I? That's very admirable, actually, VK. So can I rephrase the question? Your friends who might have had sexual relationships before they got married. Do you think your friends, Maria, inverted commas, do you think your friends told their partner before they got married about their sexual experience? Or do you think they kept it quiet?
No, they say it. There are many people, they don't keep it secret.
They don't keep it secret. Okay.
Very.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would
Because
the woman not be a bit offended or a
Let
bit
him speak.
upset?
Will you let the man speak?
Sorry.
no, listen. There is one point now. If this point is revealed after their marriage, then it is very difficult to sustain your marriage. If
Yes.
you reveal if you disclose it before marriage, so there is a chance that your wife or would be wife will cancel that she won't marry you. If you disclose it, she will refuse that I won't marry you because you already have sex before the
Yes.
marriage. So uh, they can deny, they have the option. But
Okay.
if they come to know after the marriage, then there are the chances for divorce.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if
Will
the
you stop
situations were
pulling stuff?
reversed? What if the situations were reversed, VK? What if it was the woman who revealed that she wasn't a virgin? Do you think that your friends would not have got married to that woman if they discovered that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's every man wants.
Don't break off now. No, the key bit, like that's the cum shot.
Everyone wants a virgin.
Well, yeah, everyone does. Is that what you're going to say, VK? Everyone wants a
Stay
virgin.
still.
Yes. In India, every man wants a virgin,
Yeah,
but it's not
absolutely.
possible.
Of course, it's not possible. I think I 100% agree with you, VK. If you can talk about it before the wedding, she may not marry you, but if she does, she's got full disclosure. Do you know what I mean? And the marriage should work out. I completely agree with you. And
And
we're not
vice
going to
versa,
explore it
Goldie.
anymore. We're not exploring it any further than that. Okay. So I do think it's very important to get to this person's question here. So that would have been my initial answer: is disclose it before the marriage if you can. But what's actually happened in this case? Do we have the person's name?
Michaela.
Michaela, thanks for writing in. Michaela, what you're actually saying in your case is that your partner actually came clean and said that he was bullshitting from the start, that he's not actually bisexual, but it was just a test of love. That's a bitter pill to swallow, I think. That's taking the piss a little bit. You can probably see why somebody would want. See, you're pulling the thing out of it. You'd probably want to see.
I'm not even moving.
You're
Like,
literally.
I can't move
probably
near.
with your mask on. You probably can't fucking see what you're doing. But you're,
No, but I'm not moving much.
I'm
not moving
everywhere.
much. Like I'm moving my head like any human does.
But sorry, folks.
No, there's no need to apologize. It's just movement.
I know, but don't move if you're going, and then don't tell me you're going to have an issue. So.
Fucking love you and I hate you.
I know you do. I know you.
Yeah, I kill you and I eat the shit out of you.
I know, but listen to me, folks. Okay, it's very, very different to pretend. Now, I can understand that people might feel insecure and they want to test somebody to make sure that they're making the right decision. I get that, but they probably went a little bit too far. If you're going to say something like that, at least end it very soon when the decision is made. When she makes a decision to say, "Oh, I don't care. I'm going to marry you anyway." Well, then come.
Is that not the decision the guy wanted? Presumably,
it is. But he obviously waited months after the wedding to come clean.
2 years, was it?
Yeah. So at least say it an hour later or something. Do you know what I mean? Because you could almost spin it in a kind of a joking way. Do you know what I mean? Oh, if I was bisexual, would you still marry me? And gauge the temperature there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But he actually let her believe it for how many amount of months and years. That's probably a bit much. And I think that's going to be very hard for her to swallow. Okay. She's asking basically, should she stay with him?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of strange. She just said, please help. Like, I mean.
Is there children?
She hasn't, like, I've literally read out the letter. I don't know.
What's her name again? Danielle.
Michaela.
Michaela.
It's only 2 years, so let's presume not. So 2 years after they got married, he revealed he was like, I was going to say joking, but he wasn't joking. It's a you agree that it was a test.
Yeah.
Is it not possible he was messing about, like, as in he actually is bisexual, but he was embarrassed by it?
No, I think you're reading too much into it. If he's confessing, he's confessing. He's not going to make it worse because he could have just stayed quiet.
Okay.
I think then, Michaela, I think it's definitely, I sympathize with your situation, but I think you've answered your own question a little bit. The fact that you have found me, Goldie Metcalf, from a little known show called Midnight in Baghdad.
Not little, man.
Well, you know, we're new to Podbean. We're probably known a little bit for some of our other work. But the fact that you're asking me this question, I think shows a lot. You're not sure. And if you're not sure about something, I don't think it's worth taking the chance. But really only you can answer that question. Do you know what I mean? Like, if in doubt, get the fuck out. That's my motto. You know?
I don't know. Like, Goldie, like, you're the agony aunt. The guy hasn't done, if the guy hasn't done anything else, I'm not even saying what he did was wrong. I get, like, what he lied to her, basically, prior to marriage. It's actually a good thing that he lied to her. If his lie is true, he didn't cheat on her. So he's admitting he didn't cheat on her. That's a good lie in a weird way.
Yeah, but it shows
if
that
that's
he's
the only thing if that's the only thing he's done.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what she needs to weigh up in his head. That's what she needs to weigh up in her head. But if he's willing to lie about something like that, he doesn't really care enough for her feelings to be able
he's
to
kind of
with her
explained why he lied
like that.
Though.
But you don't know for those, is it 2 years you say? Those 2 years she could have been just playing happy families and trying to reconcile that in her head, and 2 years of torture, wondering when he comes home late at night, is he off having sex with, you know, someone of the same sex? Never mind just cheating, but I think, you know, we're going to get to a stage in society where cheating is cheating, but cheating with an opposite member of the opposite sex is always going to be a little bit harder.
Is it? Do you think?
It definitely is in today's society, because there's still that whole thing about sexuality going on.
Is that not like sexist? Like, would you? Let's be honest.
One day we'll get. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is.
Yeah,
but
so you're a male.
Kind of does.
If your female
it's
partner,
a hot topic at the moment. So
okay, so if your female partner cheated with a female, I think you would get over it a lot quicker than if she cheated with a male.
Look at Ross. He never got over it in Friends. Do you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I think it could make you feel like less of a man that she resorted to another woman.
Okay.
There's so many psychological aspects.
Okay. All right. I accept
we
that,
need to move on with the next segment of the show.
Okay.
Michaela, we wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry to give
sum it up. What's your
I'm
advice?
sorry to give you such a vague answer, but I think you need to ask yourself, is living with the knowledge of the pain and hurt he put you through and the lack of respect he showed you by just joking about it, is the price of that enough for the rest of your life? Or do you bite the bullet, take a little bit of sorrow and pain and move on with your life? That's a decision only you can make. But if in doubt, get the fuck out, is my advice.
And Brittany
says she's already experienced the turmoil and trauma of what he admitted. She's experienced it. It might as well be true. You can't unfeel those feelings. It's horrible what he did. Brittany from Nevada, completely and utterly agree with you. And that's something that Charlie, I think, is failing to see here, is the emotional baggage that has long-lasted effects of that. So it doesn't matter that it was a lie. It may as well have been true because she believed it.
No, I get what Brittany and you were saying. And Brittany, I totally disagree with you. Like, yeah, it's horrible what he did. So what he did...
But what he did
is less than what she actually thought he did in the first place.
But it doesn't matter. She still experienced the emotions.
Yeah, she experienced the emotions of what she thought he did, and it must be.
So it's
horrible.
the same as if he did.
And yeah, I agree. And she got over it. She, for whatever reason.
Yeah, but there may be a sense of relief at the end. Like 1% of you is relieved that he didn't do it, but the other 99% is
I'd imagine more than 1%
that he lied about it.
Like you've raised this yourself. It's different if if your partner cheated on someone with the same sex, it would be a little bit harder for you to deal with as a human.
I'm not saying
she went through all that.
Yeah.
She did it. She still married the guy for whatever reasons. I don't think I would have. So she made that leap of faith.
Brittany says to cause someone unnecessary trauma is worse. So
the guy is a bit fucked up. I agree with that.
He is.
Like, for whatever reasons he did it. Like, how is that supposed to check trust?
My advice is get the fuck out, basically.
Okay, but I just to clarify, I disagree.
But
she stayed with him. She stayed with him for 2 years. Why leave
because
now?
Now it's a double jeopardy job.
There's nothing. He's done nothing.
I don't
else
understand
wrong.
how you don't feel that moving down your face. Like, do you genuinely not feel that?
The trauma.
No, the bloody earphones. Right. Okay, folks, thanks very much for tuning in. We're going to finish up now. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but we're going to lighten the mood. We talk about, and this is what we do every week in Midnight in Baghdad, or every time we're on. We'd love to be on every week. Sometimes it's just not possible. But we like to lighten the mood somehow, because we talk about some serious, thought-provoking things during our show, and we hope none of you are affected. If you are, please seek the guidance from Google. And you're laughing at that, but realistically, type in what your problem is into Google, and you're going to find a helpline or something. So
probably an ad, though. That's my fear.
Please do that. We're going to move on to the entertainment section of our show and lighten the mood a little bit. And as you know, we're on day 11 of our 30-day movie challenge, and this is where we have to pick a movie every day for 30 days, or for the 5 per show, a genre and what film it actually is. So the first one is a film you like from your least favorite genre. Now, VK, please feel free to jump in here at any stage, or Brittany, or any of our other listeners.
Anybody,
tune in and tell us what your
least favorite genre
what your film is. So a film you like from your least favorite genre. Tell me, Charlie, what is it?
Okay, well, my least favorite genre is action movies. I hate them.
Okay.
So you're asking me for a film I like of an action movie. I think you know what it's going to be.
Die Hard.
No. Mission Impossible.
Okay. You see, but I would have categorized Mission Impossible as a Tom Cruise movie. It wouldn't be.
I don't think that's a genre.
But it's not a genre. But
we both love Tom Cruise.
I know you love Tom Cruise.
I love him. You love him.
So
it doesn't class as a genre.
When you ask me as a question, what action movie do you like and genre you hate, I wouldn't have picked Mission Impossible because I know you love Tom Cruise. So I would have thought that would have come under a different thing.
Right. Well, yeah, I do love Tom Cruise, but I hate action movies. Most action movies, and I know you love them. One of your favorite films and books is The Hunt for Red October. I don't count that as an action movie at all.
It's a thriller.
A thriller, exactly. So an action movie, no disrespect to Steven Seagal or whatever, but I view action movies as kind of like, just full of noise and full of these scenes of violence or scenes of people fighting.
Yeah.
It's not my style. And yet, probably my favorite movies
are Mission Impossible.
And is it because of Tom Cruise? I don't know.
It definitely is.
So that's my answer. What about you, Goldie? What's your favorite movie in your least favorite genre?
Okay, so as we alluded to earlier on in the show, when I considered what was my least favorite genre, it was Westerns. And then I thought, no, there's actually too many good Western movies. If you're doing that, you need to tell me.
It's just so fucking hot. Nobody's watching.
But I can take it off.
Okay.
And it'll be forever up.
Yeah, for all the time.
You're unbelievable. Genuinely unbelievable. You told me that it wouldn't be hot and it'd be fine, and now you've taken your mask off 3 times.
That's right.
But my least favorite genre, and I have to say it, and I don't like saying it because I love movies of all genres, is
you love gay movies,
love stories, and
do you love like Philadelphia?
The chick flick love story, if I can be so crude as to use that expression. The movies that you just watch with your partner, if your partner is a female, the kind of chick flick stuff. You generally, as a man, you'd sit down and you'd watch the action movie, you'd watch the thriller movie or whatever. You generally wouldn't choose yourself to sit down and watch a love story. Generally, men would.
Like a chick flick, you mean?
Essentially a chick flick. So that's I had to go with that. And
as your least favorite genre?
Yes. Okay. And my favorite movie from that is The Notebook. Have you seen The Notebook?
I've seen like 30 minutes of it. Yeah.
It's a fantastic film, and you're slagging it because you haven't finished it.
It's woeful. But go on, tell us why it's your favorite.
You see, you haven't seen the end of the movie, have you?
I read the book, if that matters. I don't know if that's
so. You're aware of what happens, the ending.
I presume, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to be any spoilers for people, and particularly VK. You may not have seen this movie. Have you seen this movie, VK? VK, he may not be here.
Why do you love it so much? You haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
Which movie you are talking about?
The Notebook.
The Notebook.
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen it.
So
I won't ruin the movie for you, but it's a love story about a very rich female, a young girl from a family, and a kind of this nobody from a town, basically. And they fall in love during the summer, and unfortunately, the summer's over. The girl has to move away, but she loves this guy, and he's not really allowed to be with her because he's poor, essentially. And it's all about the trials and tribulations they go through. But throughout the film, you see this old man in a nursing home reading a story to a woman. But by the end of the movie, and I'm going to be... do you mind if I spoil it? But at the end of the movie, you basically find out that man and woman are actually the people they're telling the story about. and she has Alzheimer's, and he comes in every day and he reads the story of their life to her every single day and embraces her at night. And for me, I think that's extremely powerful. I think it's amazing. And personally,
did you not see that coming, Goldie, though?
Potentially, but it's still, for somebody who's all about memories like yourself and myself, I think that is, what are you trying to do now?
Nothing.
I think that is the pinnacle of what I want. I want
what, in a relationship.
Yeah, why are you speaking into the headset? The headset
doesn't matter. No, okay.
I don't know.
I'm trying to.
You realize? Sorry for this interruption.
No, there's no need to apologize.
This is being recorded. I'm not sure what you're trying to achieve by separately recording this.
I just want us.
Okay.
So it's us, not like just us, the two of us.
Okay, that's fine. We've only got a couple of minutes left, and you're starting to get unruly. I apologize, folks. Okay, so the Notebook is my one. The next category.
That's not unruly. I didn't say anything.
The category is a film that you hate from your favorite genre. So this is the opposite. And VK or Brittany, if you have a film in any of these genres, please feel free to tell us. Okay? Oh, for fuck's sake. So, Charlie, tell us a film from.
What would you imagine is my favorite genre?
Love stories.
Love story, yeah. So The Notebook.
This is you're trying to hug me here.
Yeah,
but like we've taken photographs already. Charlie's got very drunk.
Relax. My favorite genre, I would have thought, it's not romance. It's horror.
Okay.
Horror. So, and I had to pick a film. So when you presented me with this, Goldie, I picked a film that a lot of people love. I'm not just saying this to be controversial. I genuinely think it's a bad film, and I hate it. It's Night of the Living Dead, the original.
Wow.
I think it's boring. I think the start of it is cool. The first 10 minutes of it is cool. Like, Barbara, they're coming to get you.
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
I really think I've never watched it all the way through without having to stop. And my brother loves it, my youngest brother. So, and he's mad into zombies and all that stuff. So I've had to sit through it in different bits. But I've never watched it from beginning to end because I think it's a bad film.
Okay.
Another choice also would be Sam Raimi's, what's his famous one? The book, The Evil Dead. I think that's a woeful film as well.
Okay.
And I love horror. I love Halloween. I love Alien. I love all them. But they're two films I genuinely...
I'm shocked at that because I love the films and I love the ending. The fact that he survives the whole night and ends up getting shot. I think that's fantastic. And is it because of the color of his skin? We don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What
about you? What's
my
favorite genre?
My favorite genre, I suppose, would be science fiction. And the movie I chose that I hate from the science fiction world is Terminator 3. I love the whole time travel aspect of films. I love the first Terminators because it's relentless. You never know what's going to happen. How are they going to potentially stop this machine?
Do you think the second one is better than the first?
The second one, no, it's not better than the first. It's
as good as.
It's what are you trying?
I want us like.
It's being fucking done. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Why are you getting angry about? Like, Derek Murray, come on.
I'm sorry, folks, but like, it was just on and you stopped it. And
it wasn't on. That's what I was doing, and you pushed it off. Terminator 3.
Vicky, I'm sorry. Brittany, I'm sorry.
Terminator 3. It's not on.
It is
not on. Look at it. It's not on.
It fucking is.
Push the red button.
Oh my God, you're driving me mental there now. You're happy now, right?
No, it's not on.
Okay, there you go. Now it's on.
Now it's on.
Yeah, it's only going to be on for a little while. You're taking the piss out of the show.
I'm not.
I mean it. Calm the fuck down.
You are.
All right?
You are.
Calm the
just
fuck
simple.
down.
Ignore the fucking thing.
Okay.
Terminator 3.
Terminator 3. Terminator 3. Did
you say Terminator 2 is not better than Terminator 1?
It's very good. It's in a different category. We're talking about Terminator 3, very simply, okay? And I just think that they take the piss out of it.
Yeah, it's not like it isn't serious.
Yeah,
it isn't,
the first two were brilliant because they were taken seriously. And the third one, it's just ripped to piss. He puts on the stupid pink sunglasses and
what about Terminator 4 Salvation?
They got a little bit better as they went on, but still
and
never
the last one was pretty good, wasn't it?
There were some good references and good ways they did things, but the first two will never be. We're not talking about Terminator movies. We're moving on.
Okay.
A film that puts you in deep thoughts. We've got 5 minutes left. I want the name of the movie. I don't want a big history. Come on.
Okay. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Mind. I knew you were going to pick that. Jim Carrey and What's that girl's name?
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. Very weird film. Something you have to probably watch back and forth.
I've never gotten over it. That's all.
It's a fantastic film.
Do you actually think it's fantastic?
I think it's a very, very good film. Definitely thought-provoking. VK, have you got any films you'd like to talk to us about? Oh, you have to leave. VK, thanks very much for joining us. Beckham. Thank you very much for joining us, VK. Hopefully, please like our page, follow us on Twitch, Facebook.
And maybe see you in 2 weeks.
And if you wish to donate, head over to Twitch. Much appreciated.
It was nice talking to you guys.
It was lovely.
It was beautiful
really
talking
enjoyable.
to you too, VK.
VK, we've never spoken in anyone from India before, so please call in again. Show. We're on every 2 weeks, so
give us a shout again. Yeah. Give us a share.
Thank you, VK.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitch, and much appreciated.
Have a lovely.
What is your Facebook for? Can you share your Facebook?
It's midnight in Baghdad. I'll share it there for you now. Just give me one moment.
Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for talking to us, VK, as well, because it gave us a good insight into, I suppose, a life that's very different from ours. So it was brilliant. Thank you so much. And we'd love if you joined us again in 2 weeks, if you're available, if you're free, just to share, your thoughts about marriage or whatever that comes up on the show. We don't know what it's going to be, but have a lovely day, VK.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye, guys.
I've sent the page there. I've sent it my personal one, and here is the show's one. We only started up the new show's one because we had to get rid of a lot of old content that was probably
some of the stuff that Goldie said.
A little bit too controversial. But there's the links.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a million, guys. Take care. Much appreciated. Okay. So Goldie, my film would have been Predestination.
Okay, why?
A film that I found thought-provoking. I just think it's a fantastic film. What did I do with this other thing? It's a fantastic film. It's a time travel film.
Stupid shit. Focus on the show.
I am focused on the show. I just can't get the list up.
It's a very complicated film.
It's a complicated film, very thought-provoking. It's one of the best time travel movies you can watch out there. So please do take a look at
Who's in it?
Ethan Hawke is in it.
And the woman from Succession. I watched the film with you, and then years later watching Succession.
You did.
It's so complicated.
It's great. Moving on. We don't have time to talk about it. You've been dragging the show on for longer. You tell me you want 1 hour shows. And
okay, go on.
A show that made you feel depressed.
Life of David Gale.
Life of David Gale is a brilliant choice. Very sad, brilliant ending. He's on death parole. He fights to say that he's innocent or something, doesn't he?
But that's he doesn't fight. Like, that's what I don't get.
Somebody's fighting for him because they know he's
lawyer,
innocent. But it was all a big test at the end, and it was a brilliant twist.
It's so depressing, though. Like, I mean, so what if you prove the death penalty is pointless? You're still dead. So it's very depressing. But it just goes to show how far one person will go for their principles. Fantastic film. What about you?
Mine is a lot more simplistic, and I'm a little bit embarrassed now after you've picked such an amazing film.
Bambi.
It's the Titanic.
That is depressing.
And I remember going to the Titanic back in the 90s. Was it between 95 and 97? 95, you could say. And I remember going to the cinema, and I remember being so sad and so angry. I'd probably be more angry than anything else, because I was like, if the captain had listened to himself and done the right thing, there wouldn't have been an issue. I was angry that there wasn't enough lifeboats for everybody because they were that cocky. I was angry because they got the iceberg warning, but they were intent on setting, not only being the safest ship across, but setting a world record for speed or something. Yeah, that they just went ahead. 1997. Thank you very much, Bernie.
97, is it?
I thought it was 97.
Who did you see it with?
I saw it with.
I hate being wrong. Are you sure it wasn't 95?
No, it's 97. Later. Two childhood friends. A fantastic film.
Who are your childhood friends?
We won't go into that.
Were they female, though?
We don't have time.
It's kind of a female movie. We don't have time, Charlie.
The final film, a film that makes you feel happy.
Shit show.
A film that you've just got too drunk now. A film that makes you feel happy.
Bowfinger.
Yeah, I do know you love that film. It's a fantastic film. Happy. Eddie Murphy is in it, of course.
And
Steve Martin, who are actually featured on our previous shows. Fantastic characters.
Yeah, not guilty of anything.
Fantastic actors of their time. Comedic actors, and Eddie Murphy plays two different characters in it. It's a brilliant show.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Yeah.
My one is Forrest Gump. Such a good feel.
That makes you feel happy.
Yeah, it's about a guy who, you know, wasn't destined to succeed at life, who beats the odds, and, you know, features in all the most prominent times through history. And
He's
because
kind
it's
of a
really
horrible
happy.
life, though.
He doesn't have a horrible life. He has such an amazing life. That's the end of our show, folks. Thank you very much for listening in. We hope to have you here next week. Please follow us here on Podbean if you like what you see. Donate some pod points, or head over to our Facebook page, Midnight in Baghdad. Head over to Twitch where you can see us live and make donations or likes or follows, whatever you want to do. Much appreciated. Good night. God bless, and see you in a couple of weeks' time. I've been Goldie Metcalf. This has been
Charlie
Midnight
Norton.
in Baghdad.
No, don't even let me finish yet.
I'm sorry.
No, go on. Yeah,
Okay, we'll do it again. We have 2 minutes of bonus time here. So I've been Goldie Metcalf.
I'm still Charlie Norton.
And this has been episode 42 of Midnight in Baghdad.
It's actually episode
Good night,
42.
God bless. It actually is.